It's a secret, but it's an open secret. It's plain to all, but only a few see and understand. Then don't you understand this parable? Then how will you understand any parable? It's a secret, but it's an open secret. It's plain to all, but only a few see and understand. Then Jesus said to them, don't you understand this parable? Then how will you understand any parable? It's a secret, but it's an open secret. It's plain to all, but only a few see and understand. Then don't you understand this parable? Then how will you understand any parable? It's a secret, but it's an open secret. It's plain to all, but only a few see and understand. Then Jesus said to them, don't you understand this parable? Then how will you understand any parables?
What's up, everybody? Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. Welcome to the Saturday Cookup. Glad to see so many familiar and friendly faces in the chat. Chris Moore, your name sounds familiar. Don't know if we know each other in real life or if I've seen you around these parts before. But before we get cooking today, I did want to play the beat from last week. I didn't do a chill stream last week. I just did a Saturday cookup. So we've got some pretty cool tunes from last week, and I'll see if I can't play a little visuals on top without getting the copyright strike. 1 second, everyone. 1 second.
So it's safe. Just come over here by the campfire. Let's sit down.
This is free jazz,
I want to ask
you
you
guys.
very simple.
And I'm not going to make any more excuses. I'm done with excuses. I'm just going to jump in.
Who are you?
This is free jazz, you guys. And I'm not going to make any more excuses. I'm done with excuses. I'm just going to jump in.
Brought onto the scene this hypothetical idea of that Descartes wrote a chapter for, and the head was extended. It gave rise to quantity discipline, quality of certainty became the hypothetical that your body could go on its way to, and instead.
One second. One second, everyone. 1 second.
And I'm not going to make any more excuses.
1 second.
I'm done with excuses. Knows that there's an end. Look at that.
Ball players do this, jazz
I'm gonna
musicians
put that like
do
that.
this.
So you know,
Yeah, you're improvising, but it's like a free flowing.
glorious. This is free jazz. Yes. We'll start. This is free jazz.
Anyway, it's a free flowing state of consciousness.
1 second, everyone.
Somebody maybe knows what I'm talking about.
Free jazz, y'all.
Just the flow state?
Yeah, flow state. Yeah, it's a flow state. I'm thinking of.
And I'm not going to make any more
Alright.
excuses.
1 second.
I'm done with excuses. I'm just going
Alright.
to jump in so you know.
All right, that was it. I need to share my screen. I've got a little something I'm cooking up for you lovely ladies and gentlemen, gays and theys out there. Happy to be here with you. And we're cooking up on this Saturday. I'm going to drop the link here shortly. And then you guys can come and play. Chris asked a question earlier. What's the topic for today? What's the topic? Guys, do we have any suggestions? Can I get a suggestion in the hive mind to kind of get the conversation started today? What would be a good topic of discussion? I could put some things on the table. But like always, as you're hearing me work on this beat, please do not be afraid to send me a link when something pops up in your memory, says, "Ooh, this beat's reminded me of that conversation I listened to this week. This clip in particular. Ooh, wow, this actual 30-second to 2-minute clip within the video itself was actually right along with this. Whoa. And that way we can do a little bit of a weave. And if we don't do that type of weave, then we'll do the conversational type of weave. But if you don't like the weave, then weave. That's what I say. If you don't like the weave, then you can just weave. Anyway, here's what I got. Thank you for that, General. Thank you for that, General. I owe you one, sir. I owe you one. I believe we have our first topic for today. It seems like the Luka trade really paid off for the Lakers. Parsons, you're right. You're right, sir. Oh, man. 25 is off to an odd start. How's 2025 going for everybody out there? You know, we're heading into our third month. It's March 1st. Starting the spring here. Pretty close, pretty soon. We're on the verge of spring. How's everybody doing? How was your winter? How were the first 2 months of the year for you? Maybe that could be a good topic of discussion. In the meantime, go find my Ko-Fi link. It's in the description. I'm such an idiot. I had the music coming through my ears as well, so I was hearing a delay, and I was like, that can't be right. Why did that happen? No, why would that happen? Alright, we got a pretty big question for Chris here. Okay. In general, what holds conservatives back from agreeing to live in a world where a universal single-payer health care, or in other words, a government-funded, is a reality? Well, the first thing that comes to mind is, of course, suppose some odd branch of some intelligence agency got their hands on a recipe for the type of chemical that could change one's psychology. And let's say we lived in a world where the state paid for healthcare. Now then, well, we'd have a great way of, every time somebody came in with a very particular symptom, we could give incentives to the healthcare provider to use some of the information that we had gained in our extensive research. To me, this hypothetical alone serves as a pretty good conservative, or at least a libertarian type of, maybe we don't want the government in charge of everything. I don't even know what those are. Is it a leaf? A wave? I can't tell what that other one is. What's that middle emoji, RJ? Also, thank you for being here, RJ. parse the grammar in this. Turn your channel over your music a bit. Oh, you mean turn my audio up above the music? Is that what you're talking about? Alright, I'm going to drop the link. got our first taker. We caught us a live one. Ron, how are you, sir?
We are just chilling out, doing a bunch of nothing on Saturday, getting a new furnace today.
A new furnace.
A
Have you been
new-
without heat?
Yeah, but actually it was in the 40s, so no pipes froze, and had a bunch of space heaters, so it worked out pretty good. It could have been bad, so no complaints.
Chris, I've never seen you before, so I'm going to set it up this way. Oh, okay, I see you. You're a real person. Cool. Welcome, dude. First time coming on to a live stream. That's pretty cool. And it sounds like we got a little bit of a rumbly echo on your microphone, but
yeah, probably it's because I'm doing laundry right now. It's like my laundry is just basically sitting right next to me.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, so I'm the one that basically put the universal healthcare comment, and
Gotcha.
just to like so. Yeah, it's just a question that I basically have to ask people that are more. Well, it's just like for me, since I've basically told you it's like I'm from Canada, so it's like a non-question. Either if you're conservative, liberal, or whatever, it doesn't fall. It doesn't really matter because people just kind of covered the healthcare system as views like a free healthcare as a human right instead of basically the privatization of the former. Although there's attempts to privatize it, the general consensus is no. We like to have it as single payer. Yeah. So.
Well, before we get into that, I would love to ask you how you found us. Are you just did you just see my live pop up, or have you been? I don't think I've ever seen your name before. So are you completely new to what we are doing here?
Whoops, sorry. Actually, I'm one of the interconnected networks of people with like. The reason why I kind of came here is basically because James Apperson came here. So yeah.
Oh wow, I don't even know that name.
James Apperson?
Yeah.
Yeah, he came in like last week?
Oh, did he really?
Yes.
Oh, or was that 2 times ago? Was that the atheist guy?
Atheist. Yes.
Atheist. Yeah, atheist.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Do you consider yourself atheist as well?
No, I'm an atheist, actually an anti-theist, but that's not what I'm here to talk about, but whatever.
Yeah, well, that's fine. You know, the thing about it is somewhat of it can be uncomfortable to talk about, but it's one of those most important questions that when you know where somebody stands about it, you know a lot about them. You know, it's kind of, and it helps you not to, like I put it this way. I'd rather you, you know, be an atheist than pretend to, you know, be pretend that it doesn't matter or something, you know, like, and I'm just one of those weird people that loves talking about politics and religion. So it's kind of, you know, I can be a little bit of a prior, you know.
Well, it's like I can go on like my personal views, but it's like I said, it's like for now, I basically asked the question to the forefront, as in why is it so hard for conservative-minded people to basically get on board with universal health care? So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine a type of person who would be against healthcare. Period. don't fix me. Don't make me better. What's going to happen is going to happen. Let me be. Leave me be. But you know, we do have a little bit of a ritual here. Whenever someone new pops on, we like to ask them a little bit about themselves, and just so you know too, there's lots of little games that we play here. For instance, if somebody comes on and they're wearing sunglasses or they got a hoodie on, actually it really needs to be sunglasses and a hoodie. That's like the double. That's the best. Like hoodie up, in the hood. They got to be in the hood. Yeah, Ron's. I'm displaying half of it. Ron's displaying the other half. And if somebody comes on looking like that, they automatically get a full screen. I might have to interrupt whoever's talking and let them have the floor because they came in looking like a G, so they get the respect they deserved. Okay, so that's just like one little thing. But there's a lot of weird little things like that, and we have branding. So I just want to say all of that stuff before the conversation gets really going here, because if I don't want it to be a surprise if the screen goes down and some weird commercial starts playing, or if somebody comes in with shades on and they're treated like the King of England, just over there. But back to the ritual. Would you mind telling us a little bit of your biography? Like telling us, start with the home you grew up in, and then kind of, if you can, try to tell us how you got to where you are today. That would be like a chum in the waters for all of my adoring fans out there.
Oh boy. All right. Let's see. I am a middle child of three. Grew up in a single mother household. Well, single parent household with my grandparents and my mother. And also I well, I have a permanent disability, which I have cerebral palsy. Okay. I'm pretty much somebody that likes to write about stuff, I guess. That's just like if you want to go at as general terms.
So
pretty
you're a
much-
writer. That's pretty cool.
Not like it's not my profession. It's just like a hobby, like type of thing.
Okay.
It's just like, yeah, I like to write.
When did you start writing?
Woof. I'd say
You're like kindergarten.
well, not kindergarten, but it's like I'd say around like 14. Currently I'm like 33. So
Was there like, did you start it because you liked it, or was that the part of school that you liked, or did you have a mentor or somebody, maybe your grandma, be like, hey, you could write your thoughts down and maybe that could be a good way to process things? Or how did that, or was it like, yeah, explain that. How did you get started?
It's more of a it's kind of like weird a little bit to explain myself. I kind of started because for most of my life I basically been sidelined due to my physical limitations and condition of having cerebral palsy. I basically started to observe people, and that basically cascaded onto basically writing poems and stuff like that as an outlet to basically write down, like, joys, frustrations, just like like all the gamut of the emotion, so that I could have an outlet to just speak up what I want on my mind and stuff like that. So yeah.
So does it take the form of like journals, or is it more of like essays? Is it aphorisms? What kind of form do you think it ends up taking?
Most of the time it's poetry or short stories. But
Oh wow.
it's more
Okay, cool.
What
It's
kind
more
of poetry?
I basically just like it's like free form poetry, or just like what I do is that I just basically got an idea and I jotted it down, and then I put the rules in afterwards. So yeah,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
And stories?
That's very cool.
What kind of stories do you like to write?
Fantasy fiction,
Okay.
and sometimes fan fiction to more.
Okay, now this is for 200 points. Tolkien, yes or no?
I respect the guy.
Okay.
Don't really like don't really like his world that much, but that's just me.
Whose world do you like?
Oof. Uh, this is let's look
Or
like
what?
how to explain like
I'm sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt. What is the world that you like to make? I like that better. If you
like
don't
as
mind.
in it's like a basically I take any franchise, or at least let's
Hmm.
say I have a couple of franchises and I basically do side stories about like side carriers, or I basically deconstruct it into the version that I want. That's like the fan fiction side of things.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that, but it's also not lore accurate, but it's just like trying to use like the parameters of the story and stuff
Hmm.
like that. And as for poetry, it's mostly just me just trying to just do stuff, just to basically just to as an outlet to just blad stuff on paper. Yeah,
Hmm.
but if you want to talk about universes, Star Wars is one of those. But it's
Well, now
I
you
kind
got to
of
give us your ranking. You got to give us the ranking of the
okay.
of the films, right? Of the film. We don't need to get into the spin-off shows. That would go a little too far.
Well, excuse me,
Um,
but for me, it's like the movies are not exactly not irrelevant, but it's just for me. I don't really go to the like movies. I'm a '90s kid. I grew up on the books and like the video games and stuff like that. So for me,
wow.
that's
Bat
Star Wars. So
Battlefront. You remember Battlefront on the
yep, Battlefront 1 and
my
2,
yeah,
2005. Sorry.
yep. That was
Um,
it. That was it,
KOTOR.
man.
Yeah, KOTOR. Do you know that? Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2.
Oh yeah. I've seen some of that. I didn't play those, but I've like watched people play through them online and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I played both of those. Light side though, but anyway. And after that, what else? Oh yeah, Republic Commando.
Sam saying, have you the Timothy Zahn Theron trilogy? Is that do you know about that? I don't know what that is.
Well, the Zahn, sorry, Timothy Zahn is basically let's like the Thrawn trilogy is basically just like what 1 year to 2 years after Return of the Jedi. So yeah, I've basically skimmed over it, but that the from my when how I kind of got read it, it was by comic books, but that was basically me, 15-year-old me at that time. So yeah, um,
Okay. Well, what do you think about George Lucas's like theological ideas? You know, and are we going to address the midichlorian debacle at any point? Maybe that would be a
uh,
good topic.
it's a good set of ideas to try to quantify, um, like because you have to understand like the how like the backstory of the midichlorians is, well, at least like the how as a unit type of thing is due to the fact that Plagueis tries to do basically, well, Plagueis and Sidious try to do stuff up in a way. Like, and I'm not saying that this is George's vision or whatever, but with if you go by the Plagueis novel, that's how basically how you can kind of square up the T, as in like the Sith have been trying to try to manipulate the Force through like a millennia and stuff like that. And to a certain degree, you like the inclusion of midichlorian count and all of that is a way to basically just uh, conceptualize and quantify um, the imaginary thing that was a force field that surrounds us, penetrated us, and all that stuff from what what McGinnis uh, was basically from his lines. So yeah. Um,
Obi-Wan Kenobi? Did you forget Obi-Wan Kenobi's name, dude?
no, yes, but what Obi-Wan says, but it's basically sorry, it's because for me, Obi-Wan is two characters, Ewan
Oh
McGregor
wow, say more.
and and Sir Alec McGinnis. Alec Guinness. So I well, like Star Wars for me was passed down to me, and that's why the OT doesn't really like. It's not like I'm not saying like Luke Skywalker is not something that I like that like is like Luke Skywalker is important to the mythos, but it's not the Star Wars that I grew up on. And like yes, like I have more like if you want to like chronologically, it's more of the prequels and so on and so forth. But like I said previously, for me, Star Wars is the what's in the video games and the comic books and stuff like that. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, how did you get involved with Jason and the whole kind of like atheist crowd? You know, I need to confess I didn't when he joined, I didn't do my research and go watch some of his content, but I, can you tell me a little bit about his content and how you found yourself kind of among some rapscallion atheists like that? Like what in the world, dude? How can you have stooped so low as to be holding court with these God haters? Come on, man.
Well, that would be me, as in I'm a God hater, quote unquote. But it's just I see, well, uh, I see basically all religion extinct and living as basic myth that it's man like it's man-made human creations that we tell ourselves like tell stories about stuff, and it's also like more on the what you basically I think some of your viewers would say that it's on the misvision, basically the myth vision side of things, but it's also like to other people like Jay Bundy, which is Pocket Locker 86 type of crowds. But all in all, to explain like how I briefly pretty much kind of started to hang out with those crowds is because of COVID. Um, Basically, just got
Ah,
bored and just started just kind of going around, and yeah, met James through somebody else, and that was actually a theist, and yeah, we just kind of in the periphery of each other's, places that we hang out and stuff like that. So on the internet. So yeah.
very cool. Very cool. Um, so was there any like what was the religious nature of your upbringing? Did you grow up going to church or anything like that? Was there a falling out or was it kind of a less existential than that?
Well, basically, I'm well, to put it in context, French Catholic, Roman Catholic. Yeah. Um, well, like I know that you don't really notice it because how I talk, but English is my second language. So
I also saw what you look
Yeah.
like backstage, and I'm not going to give it away, but there's other reasons why someone might be surprised to hear you're a French Catholic, especially with your name too. That's a very American name, shall we say?
well, it's actually like my name, my online name is not my actual government name.
Oh, cool! You're a
It's
pseudonym.
actually amalgamation of my middle name and my unused family name. So
Okay, very cool, very cool.
yeah, so
Well, I won't say the. Well, maybe I'll just say this. There's reasons why when your name popped up in the chat, I was like, oh, I might know you. So very interesting. But yeah, so
yeah.
you grew up French Catholic. What did you have you like come out to your parents as being a God hater?
No, actually, and to just kind of putting us back on track. Um, no, my family was actually pretty liberal to that point. Well, still went to church and stuff like that up to a certain point. Almost up until I was what 11 years old. Um, so yeah, but my family was pretty much like do your own thing type of thing, like very like non prescriptive type of thing. Um, and it's kind of like a little bit due to the fact that me personally, am a third generation post like I'm the third generation. Sorry, I'm like a part of the third generation that has a post secondary education, and it's like it started with my grandfather, and then my mother's generation, and then like us as in like sorry, I have cousins too, and so basically it's just like it, it's just like we've gone a little bit ahead of the curve when it's seeing like the change. And the other one is a little bit more convoluted, but more specific to the French Canadian community. It's something called the Quiet Revolution, which is basically religion was basically institutionalized everywhere, as in hospitals, schools, stuff like that, you name it. And around the 60s or so, that changed. I basically could like there's like convoluted thing, but to just kind of say what happened and stuff like that. But if you kind of Google that type of stuff, yeah, um, and yeah, so so I'm basically one generation removed from that time period of the Quiet Revolution. So it's like the French society basically secularized for just like a TLDR type of thing, among other things, and just like so by the time I popped up, it's like religion was somewhat important, but it's not the end of the world that you don't follow some stuff. And on top of that, as I said about the fact that most of my family had a higher education at that point, it's just basically culminated into the whatever, just do what you want if
Yeah.
it suits you. And so, like I said, I didn't really had a quote unquote coming out as in to being an atheist or anything. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
There were bigger kind of political and cultural issues that your parents were, or your family was. I keep saying parents. I just mean family. Sorry about that.
yeah,
Um,
you're good.
um, yeah, so there was like bigger concerns in your family than religion at that point, due to, like I said, the kind of on the ground cultural and political movements. It is interesting to me that there was two interesting things I wanted to double click on. One, I'm not familiar with the silent revolution, so I could use a quick history update on that if you wanted to share it with us, or from your perspective at least.
Well,
And
for
these are
me,
just options. These are just options. Let's
yeah,
give you
sure.
a couple options, and we can play the it's a choose your own adventure conversation. But so that would be one thing. And I'd also I wondered if you're familiar with the idea of Christendom from Kierkegaard. So I'm fairly Protestant,
Uh,
a Christian
no.
absurdism. I'm pretty Protestant, right? So I would be definitely down to and I'm not the biggest fan of the French either, to be fair. But but so if we wanted to dunk on the Catholics, I would be more than happy to do that for at least a little bit.
Well, technically,
But
like I said, I'm Roman Catholic. It's just the French variety of it. But
right,
anyway,
yep.
but uh, for I don't really like to talk about the Quiet Revolution because it's like there's the political nuance, then there's the cultural nuance, and then you got the um, English versus French type of discord, and it's just like for me to tell you what was what and all that. It's basically for me it's like second hand information. It's not the whole thing that I could basically give you a play by play specifically. So
Yeah, well, I know we've got some Canadians in the chat. Maybe they could, and since they know me, they would know how to explain it to me too.
yeah.
Maybe there's some people who could put it to me and explain it to me like I'm 5. Um, but also, Ron says Kierkegaard, 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 and what that means is they've summoned Kierkegaard. We've summoned McMo with Kierkegaard, and that means we have to play this.
We'll be exploring the philosophy of Søren Kierkegaard.
Let's see if I can summon McMo. Kierkegaard, Kierkegaard, Kierkegaard!
You summon McMo.
All you have to do is say Kierkegaard, Kierkegaard.
Talk about Kierkegaard. So,
Søren Kierkegaard was a brilliant, gloomy, anxiety-ridden, often hilarious Danish 19th century philosopher.
Kierkegaard's philosophy is a reaction to the Hegelian synthesis. What makes Kierkegaard a precursor to existentialism is that he holds the view that there is no criterion for making this decision. In other words, he faces us with the grim, the horrifying reality of criterionless choice. Make a decision. You have no standards upon which to make a decision. Good luck.
Well, we're going to talk a lot about what Kierkegaard means when he's saying that today, but
I really like him. I find him really fascinating. He's certainly one of the funniest, and he has a thoroughly morbid sense of humor. There's so few philosophers with a good sense of humor. Kierkegaard is one of them. So, and you also have a choice about whether you make a decision or not. You must decide. Best of luck. So Kierkegaard leaves us adrift. He cuts us off from our moorings to rationality because he says there is no possible rational decision procedure which could give you grounds for choosing the moral or the aesthetic life. If you want to say that you develop some rational theory which shows you that only the rational life is the good one, you are presupposing what you are trying to prove. If you did presuppose that rationality would be our guide, then what would you say?
Thomas Aquinas wouldn't call you virtuous for staying up all night tracking glacial melt in Greenland, but for many philosophers, including Kierkegaard, anxiety is a foundational human experience.
Nothing. The vast silence of human existence becomes very, very clear when Kierkegaard begins to meditate and think deeply about the choices that human beings must, by virtue of the human condition, make.
I'm anxious, and I'm not alone. For example, you guys ever think that some of your friends are only still friends because they've been friends with you and actually don't like you and nobody protects behind your back, and they talk about why they don't like you and everything to do with them? You're just thinking like, am I not right? And I actually have friends?
Søren Kierkegaard is best known as the father of existentialism. But
Is there a mood that expresses the human condition more than any other? For Søren Kierkegaard, that mood is indeed anxiety. And
by Søren Kierkegaard. Kierkegaard was
Søren Kierkegaard was a philosopher, theologian, poet, social critic, and religious author.
For Søren Kierkegaard, whose Kierkegaard's philosophy is very theistic and more specifically very Christian. So much so that he might well be considered more of a Christian theologian than a philosopher.
But to understand both Pascal and Kierkegaard, we also need to focus on a more concrete issue than the issue of reason. We need to focus on the issue that was the central issue for both Pascal and Kierkegaard, which was Jesus Christ himself. Very few establishment scholars of either Pascal or Kierkegaard today dare to do that. They either ignore or patronize that focus and that center. Thus, they radically misunderstand both of these two philosophers. They were existentialist Christians, not Christian existentialists. For both, Christ was not an adjective but a noun.
So we've got ourselves into a really stupid corner. Right about that goes without saying with McMo.
Yeah. So
Okay.
if you can't tell, I'm a big fanboy of Kierkegaard. But the other thing I wanted to ask you was the higher education. What's your expertise? Are we talking multiple doctorates here or multiple masters? Tell us a little bit about your academic why we should respect your opinion based on the academy,
high.
right?
It's not that high. I just went to college, or it's just that sorry for you guys in the States, it's indistinguishable between university and college.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, I'm a
Yeah.
ignorant American, man. You're gonna
So
have to break it down for me. Sorry.
sorry, it's just that basically college is grades, like the trades, like trades and stuff, while university is more like the academic PhDs, masters, and stuff like that. I just went to 1 year in university, and I quit. Quit, but no, I did college instead. I actually went into the social sciences for, well, sorry, not like the, like, if you want to, more specific, is like I went there when I graduated from high school, was child and youth worker. However, I burnt myself out from that, and
As a what? As a what youth worker?
child and youth worker.
Child and youth worker. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Like Boys and Girls Club. Did they have that in Canada?
Yes, they do, and it's basically that periphery of that, and also in the educational system as educational assistants, that type of thing. Um, and I basically burned myself out from that, and also the fact that um, it's just like, for me, it was just like I was also doing volunteer jobs and stuff like that. So I kind of, like I said, like the that like the that stuff has a high burnout probability, and that still was just me. But for me, that it was just, I was just like wanted to just like kind of lost the energy, the, like, the, not the will, but it's just like there's a threshold to where which you're just like, you think that you're kind of helping everybody, but you're not doing optimally. And the fact is that you cannot accept that the subpar performance, and you're just like, just like can't do it anymore. So yeah, and after that, excuse
So you
me,
got a
and
little burnt out.
pretty much, so I basically burned myself out on that front. And recently, I've went back to college around the pandemic, well, a little bit before, as a library technician student. Sorry, don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, I went to I graduated as a library and information technician a couple of years ago. But like I said, it started a little bit before the pandemic started, and yeah, so yeah, currently job searching and stuff like that. So yay, but
That's the worst. That's the worst, dude.
yeah, so yeah, that's what that's like my education level. Like, it's not super high, but you know.
Was there anything about, did you see any changes kind of occur from like how you grew up to when you were dealing with children and youth? Like, did you see any of those kind of generational differences?
Um, if you're talking about me specifically, the general changes that I've witnessed is, well, the okay, the well, some of the, well, there's not exactly there's not exactly like a dynamics change, but it's just the fact that like the fact that you have single parents, stuff like that, is like super common these days. Well, back in the 90s, it was still a, like a, a new phenomena and stuff like that. And yeah, so it's just like, so you basically have a lot of people that are trying to just do the daily grind, but have to do 500 different other things. And yeah, well, at least that's what I can think of right now. But as in terms of people with the disabilities, is more like the not the area but of concentration, but of what I can observe. Like if you can go from uh, prior 90s all the way up to now. Um, it's like when I grew up, the educational system was basically cut and dry, as in um, if you don't make the cut, um, like you're not that you're on your own, but it's like there's something wrong with you, type of thing. And you basically just like whether it's ADHD, or any other different autism stuff like that. You're basically bunched up into like this classroom and stuff like that for special needs and stuff like that. And it
Oh man, that
just
that brings up a lot of questions for me.
yeah.
Um, One would be like, yeah, like what's your opinion on like quote unquote special needs education? Because at least in America, that's like a big there's lots of conversations happening about how poor it is just kind of across the board. Um, and then the other question is due to the comments, we've got some people say like offering explanations as to why things are broken, you might say. And so my question would be like, do you see things as broken, and at what level are you seeing that brokenness? Like where is the fundamental um, lack or mistake being made?
In terms of the educational system,
Yeah, or I mean, just like generally what you're talking about. Sorry, I'm a pretty big picture thinker,
okay.
to my wife's chagrin. So I ask these like, "What do you think about the universe?" type questions. And so yeah, as I'm getting to know you, if you need me to get a little bit more concrete and ground level, I can do my best to do that. But cards on the table, I'm a pretty head in the clouds type of fella.
Okay. Um, well, for me, I'm just basically my personal belief is that education is a right and should not be cut. It should be invested more. Like it's just one of those sacred cows that you do not um, do budget cuts.
Around these parts, we call sacred cows idols, fella.
Well, sorry, it's
Sir,
just like
that's a Ten Commandment issue. See, you don't need to bow down to them sacred cows now. That's against what the Lord will have you doing, sir.
yeah, but well, probably. But what I'm saying is that to me is it's just something that you do not do. However, politicians do. You know, Eh, it's basically it comes down to like for in American terms, like the GI Bill and stuff like that. It's just something that you basically the investment upon sorry return upon investment is basically proven that if you invest and just basically just keeping in theme with the funding of education, you'll have basically more the net worth is not net worth. Sorry, I'm jumbling words over here. Sorry, but what I'm
You're good.
saying, a return is to what money you put in. So
Speaking of money you put in, if you really would like a return on investment,
yeah,
I urge you, not you, Chris, but I urge the folks in the comment. Actually, Chris, if this if this plucks your heartstrings, feel free. I encourage you in the comments, if you want to see a return on your investment, donate to my Ko-Fi link. That is the best return on investment I can imagine at this point in this conversation. Get me to Northwestuary. That don't believe what I put in the ironic Ko-Fi goals challenge. I have problems with sincerity, folks. I've got to say the truth, but I got to say it slant for my own mental illness. But don't let me get away from the point. The point is donate to my Ko-Fi so that I can go to the Midwestuary, happening out in close to basically Chicago. They put a different name on it, but you've got to join us. Chris, it would be cool if you joined us. It would be probably like you could think of it as like a anthropology field trip. You could study what the weird Christians are doing. But here, if you don't know what I'm talking about, here it is.
Midwestuary 2025, August 22nd through the 24th in Elmhurst, Illinois. A weekend you won't want to miss, with special guests Cale Zeldin, Paul Vanderklay, Rod Dreher, Elizabeth Oldfield, John Vervaeke, and Jonathan Pajot. Midwestuary 2025, the Fellowship of the Spirit. Stay tuned for more details. Visit us at midwestuary.com for ongoing updates.
Limited ticket, folks. Limited tickets.
Yeah.
Find that link soon. I do want to say I am not a financial expert. Please do not take any of what I'm saying here for entertainment purposes only as investment advice coming from a professional. No, this is the back alley stream of a madman. This is the Christian absurdist's only light in the darkness, folks. There's not even a Christian absurdist Discord that I'm aware of. The other Christian absurdists have not made themselves known to me. They haven't come crawling, even though I am their leader and their prophet. Anyway.
Yeah.
You were talking about some boring government bullshit.
Well,
I'm just kidding, man. I did want to give you a little bit of a warning because, and it's not please don't change what you're talking about. I just want to give you an update onto where you find yourself, because there are a lot of strong opinions in this kind of open internet space. And so I don't want you to be surprised if people call you a commie or a socialist for prioritizing government spending go to things like special needs education.
Well, if you want my reply, I would say you don't know what those definitions are. Sorry.
Well, I certainly don't. But the folks, I'm trying to tell you that the folks in the hive mind, they probably do. So just, I want you to know these are shark-infested waters for a fellow like you, Chris. I'm trying to tell you. We've got this guy, Matthew Parlato. He looks very handsome in his photo. But the truth is, he's a Dugan follower. He likes Dugan, dude. So you gotta. I'm trying. I just want you to know, you've stumbled into a town where every cowboy's got a pistol.
Okay. All right. Cool. And by the way, I like guns. Just to let you know.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. All right. So Canadian. I want to get back to the important things that you were talking about. But are you a hockey fan at all?
No.
Dang.
The thing is that it just kind of like my love for hockey just kind of passed away with my grandfather. It's just like it was just like our special time type of thing, and just like when he died, it's just like I just kind of lost the thing. And also the thing is that it's been
that's
20
sad,
years.
dude. That's sad.
Yeah.
But like, sounds like that's like a great memory, right? Like,
yeah.
It's kind of. I mean, speaking of sacred cows, like that's the kind of thing you want to hold on to. I get that 100%.
Yeah, but the thing is the other thing is, like I said, with cerebral palsy, I couldn't really do sports that much.
Yeah, I see.
And so for me, is that like, yes, probably if I would play hockey, I would probably get into it, but I didn't because of that. So.
I forget about that. Yeah. The like level of participation. I don't know if this is like a bro thing, but I think of like the enjoyment of sports is so separated from the actual playing of sports. It's kind of like Honestly, it's the same thing of like the difference between playing video games and making video games.
Yeah.
You know, like that's like a weird, like there's a weird kind, or listening to music and making music, which is what most of my streams are normally about, right? Like,
Yeah.
you know, that's like there's a weird, I don't know, what do you make of that kind of separation between like fans and the folks who make it? And then there's some things where like I'm with you, like if I can't actually participate in it, I'm not really going to be interested in it. But then there's some things that like I don't really want to learn how to become a great chef. My wife
Yeah.
is a great chef, but every so often she'll take me to some like fancy restaurant, right? And I will be like, I'm a McDonald's, Waffle House is my like the environment that I thrive in the most. You know, like that is my, like that's the ecosystem that I was kind of, you know, I Darwinianly evolved to succeed in. Like I'm the alpha in a Waffle House, you know, but when I go to these fancy restaurants with my wife, I'm like, I'm so not the alpha. And so
Make yourself a sandwich. It's pure and simple. That's it.
But you get what I'm saying? Like there is
Yeah.
this weird thing where it's like you talking about that with your granddad, and then the aspect of like it being, you know, something you can participate in or not. That's like a very interesting dividing line for me, because there's some things I'm very interested in that I don't want to participate in. And there's some things that I'm very interested in. And if I don't participate in them, I feel like I'm somehow failing at life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, well, when it comes to sports, it's like I said, I've never really had the opportunity. Well, it's not saying no. It's not that I don't have the opportunity to do it. It's just like compared to everybody else, it's not what what everybody else does. So basically, I was sidelined because of that, and not to their fault of my own or theirs, but it's because I couldn't skate or whatever, not like can't jump, or if you're talking like basketball or whatever. But yeah. However, due to the fact that my grandfather was a gym teacher, I basically knew most of the rules when it comes to sports that I could do.
So he was like, my grandson is not going to be completely ignorant of the sports.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. And
that's pretty cool, dude. That's pretty cool. He seems like he loved you a lot.
Yeah, he did. And yeah.
That's sick, dude. I mean, I didn't mean to say that to compliment, but that is pretty cool. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, because if you had said like my granddad was fucking awesome, I would have been like, don't brag, bro. But with that being said, I do need to acknowledge and thank MS. Thank you for donating to my Ko-Fi. And then we've got an anonymous donator as well. We're at 14% of the goal, folks. Thank you very much. Oh wait, it wasn't anonymous. It was Afrael. Afrael, thanks. If you'd like to stay anonymous, don't put your name in the Ko-Fi. You know, that's the thing. All right, Chris, let's get back to enough with the coolest granddad in the world and you making us all feel bad for not having as cool and loving his granddads as you. We've got some hard-hitting questions for you in the comments. Okay. Here's one. So we'll start with Afrael's donator to the McMo Ko-Fi. Peace be upon him, Afrael Pilotson. He's a great video game streamer. He streams usually Saturday nights. Are you going to be streaming tonight, Afrael? Hope so. I usually catch him in the mornings because I kind of go to sleep early. But he'll game and just kind of talk about what he's been thinking about. And sometimes his wife chimes in, and that's my favorite parts because they're adorable and like the cutest couple in the world. But yeah, Afrael says, I'm willing to talk about funding levels, but never lower isn't really a workable position as far as I'm concerned. So he's wanting to have a little bit more leverage and a little bit more agency, we'll say, in the ability to kind of weigh, hey, is this really something that's worth funding, or can we do it a little bit better for a little bit less money? Is there something that maybe needs the money more? You know, maybe the money's not infinite. And then Parlato, on a similar question, he says, is there a level of education failure that allows defunding? So this is it's a similar question, right? It's like Afrael saying, I want to be able to maybe say, hey, if you're not doing a good job, we shouldn't pay you as much. And Parlato asks it a little more succinctly, like, at what point do we say the educational systems are so broken that they need to be completely wiped out, and to make room for a completely new system. What do you think about that?
So you're talking, if I understand it right, you're at like your chat is asking me, do we allow them to fail? Is that it?
That's a good point. Parlato, what would you say? Do we allow them to fail, or because I kind of added in there the idea
Like,
that,
no judgment, no judgment. By the way, I'm just kind of asking like clarification.
Well, just to be clear, I think that most of the people in my comments are pretty fair.
So,
They deserve to be judged a little bit. I'm more concerned about them judging you, to be honest. You know, you're the stranger and the sojourner in these parts. These guys I've kind of hitched my wagon to, so I'm hoping they'll stay on their best behavior, you know. So far, I'm seeing mostly friendly names in the comments. So we're still in the, maybe we just have like, it's like the tiny sharks that they have, like just, like 2 or 3 foot sharks that from where I grew up down in Savannah, Georgia, in the brackish and the estuary waters where there's tiny sharks. But then if I see a giant, well, speaking of big sharks, C Money is he's very intelligent and language. He's got a great grasp of language, and he's a great extemporaneous speaker. He says, in defense of Chris, I think he was saying that the country should invest in educating people with special needs. I don't think he meant that the current system should keep all funding. What do you think about that?
Well, for me, they're both one and the same. Because at some point, like they're like, okay, yes, you can have to have your diagnosis with, special needs, with learning disabilities, etc., and all that stuff. But the thing is that the more people and when I say like funding, I say like I'm talking about like especially one of the sore things that I kind of experienced as like educational assistants. They basically are at the bottom end of the salary and all that stuff, but are instrumental at determining if one of the students passes or not. So I know it's a convoluted answer, but it funding in general.
Well, it's convoluted because it's kind of part of your biography, right?
Yeah, sorry.
You've got such you've got intimate knowledge with it, right?
Well, yeah.
So I don't even know to what like you mentioned autism earlier. Like I didn't straight up ask you, which the thing. My father was on the spectrum, and it's kind of funny because one of the ways you can tell if somebody's autistic or not is to the level to which they're willing to just straight up ask somebody whether or not they're autistic. Yeah.
Well, it's been a while since I've been at that specific game, but it's because they like when you talk about the spectrum of autism, they zig when the world zags, or vice versa.
Yep.
And how you do this is that you just basically have to interpret, like have a third party that interprets something, and then just try to guide them through.
That's the thing about special needs, right? Like we think of it as a category of like we put this label on it, special needs, and then we can kind of think of it as one thing.
Yeah.
But the term itself is like, no, it's the definition of diversity, because every single special need can be its own. It requires its own. More research required on it. Like that's and once again, this is a Kierkegaard point. Like, it's the importance of the individual, right? And so there's a real sense in which I don't envy anybody trying to work with special needs folks or work with special needs, and but there's also this weird sense in which like the fact that every individual is unique means that like the needs that they possess or the needs that arise in their kind of self-understanding is the same. It's the same It's the same existential experience, perhaps, as another person's coming to self-awareness of their own special needs.
Yeah.
You see what I'm trying to get at there? Where
everybody has a
these are
special
deep
need.
water, right? Yeah, like these are deep waters.
Yeah, and the thing is that not like every person has their own unique situation. Like, no, not situation, but like their own unique solutions to their problem, if that makes sense. Some people just kind of get iffy about it. This is like how I'm phrasing stuff over here, but it's not a one size fits all type of thing. Like how to manage people with special needs. That like it's not a like I said, a one size fits all plan on how to deal with stuff. Sometimes you have to be creative on.
Yeah. Well, I hate to say it, Chris, but the thing is that despite your metaphysical beliefs, I do believe that Kierkegaard, by way of Christianity, may have an answer for us.
We can summon McMo.
I want to talk about which.
What is it? It's all you have to do is say Kierkegaard.
Kierkegaard. We'll see if he stops in the chat later.
That's the short version, because there's a sense in which like the answer to the puzzle seems to me, and I don't mean this to be necessarily a critique of the kind of very on the ground question of how much money should the government spend towards education. That seems to be a different conversation than we're trying to have. There's an interesting way in which it's actually love is the only answer, because love is actually the universal activity, we could say, that recognizes the special need of the other and works to ameliorate it, and to not only kind of, there's a palliative sense of that kind of, you can ease the pain of the other, but then there's also just a sense of there's a dignifying aspect to it as well, right? It's not just service to somebody who needs it. It's also service for whom service is required, right? That that the person whom I'm to serve is actually they're owed my love and my service. And so like that's why like I think maybe to get back to one of the things we were talking about earlier, I struggle to find a type of myth, even like Star Wars, that actually does as good of a job at kind of underpinning a type of ethics, a type of philosophy towards love. Like I don't see a materialist view offering any reason or any incentive to act in love. And so for someone like you, I'm not envious of the position, because I feel like there's a sense in which all you can do at the end of the day is say like, hey, we need, you can operate in the praxis of democracy, but you're always going to be kind of hemmed in and oppressed. You're always going to be the rebels with few and far between successes, and that's kind of what's required for the story to go on, And so this gets into Hegel, this gets into Schopenhauer. Like these are very, like, the things that you're talking about and the problems that you're pointing to, I think are like, they're not just like surface level failures of government or society. I think these are like very fundamental at the heart of not only the human experience, but of also like the universe as a whole. Do you see what I'm saying?
If I understand it right, you're basically asking me a philosophy question about like, where do I fit in all this? Or sorry, it's just I'm trying to
Yeah, sorry, you got me preaching a little bit, and you know what? I shouldn't blame you. I should only blame myself. I put up the Kierkegaard branding, and then I just, I was like a bull seeing red. I just charged straight ahead. So sorry for
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
I put a lot on the plate there. I guess in general, it's like, how do you square? This is something that's always. This is a personal question, and forgive me for that, but I've always kind of just been curious, and even in the times in my life where I've been more prone to think or to doubt that God existed, or to at least want to act like he didn't exist, I always found a deep emptiness that was incapable of propelling me towards acting towards the good.
Okay,
Right?
sorry. Now I understand what your question is. So, okay. Well, for me, I am what's basically more into the existentialism, specifically existential nihilist type of category.
Okay. The age old battle between the absurdists and the nihilists. I've staked my flag, Chris, but we can still be friends. Please continue.
Well, what I'm referring to is more the Jean-Paul Sartre and the Robert Camus. Camus.
Yeah, I'm familiar. They're my nemesis.
Yeah.
They're my nemesis.
Yeah.
But please continue.
Yeah, and for me, it's more of a. If for me, it's more of a. Yeah, life sucks. Whatever, just get up and try again and again and again and again ad infinitum to just try to.
Are you trying to imagine Sisyphus happy?
Yeah, I guess, but it's
are you
not
doing
like
it?
I know. Well, for me, that's how I basically. Yeah, I guess that's how I run my life. Well, not run my life, but how I basically just do stuff in life. I guess in a way. Not that but I'm trying to learn or try to be better
Okay.
than the last attempt.
I like
Not
that.
to just stagnate.
There's like a grittiness to that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
I think that's cool.
So yeah, but for me, the fact that if you want to go on to the philosophy question of God doesn't for me, God does not exist, yet I act as if it it exists anyway.
Are you familiar with the apologetic trope of tell me about the God you don't believe in?
No. Sorry, I'm not really I'm not really of a I know that it's very very I'm very low.
You're secular, dude.
Yeah.
You're like you're a Canadian.
Well, secularism and Canadian are not mutually exclusive, but anyway, it's just for me, it's more of the humanist side of things.
Okay.
Yes.
Existentialism is a humanism. Okay.
Yes, pretty much. But it's just for me, it's just it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if a super deity, a deity exists or not. That's not the that's not the thing in life that I'm most worried about. It's more of a how do we take care of each other type of deal, to put in layman's terms anyway.
Sorry, my
And
dog is apparently
yeah,
not liking that very much. He no, he just needs to go outside. I can
yeah,
switch to my phone here shortly and take him out. But yeah, that's very interesting. You know, my general opinion on like the French existentialists, because I read them before I read Kierkegaard,
yeah.
and so I thought existentialism was purely that, and it was interesting to me, and I liked reading it. But I liked reading it like a you know, like a Republican likes watching CNBC, or how leftists would enjoy watching Fox News. You know, I liked I liked Sartre and Camus, you know, with a certain amount of jouissance.
Yeah.
And which you can say you'll pronounce way better than me. You know, I'm not French at all.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so I think that the thing that they miss, and even Heidegger misses, is the kind of like Kierkegaard is laying the groundworks of existentialism as someone whose existence is primarily conceived as a relation to the God. And so there's a weird, like, I don't know what do you make of that kind of move of, like, is it merely the kind of Dawkins, like, you know, I just don't see enough proof for there to be a God? Is it the Nietzschean death of God? Like, what do you see going on there? Because to me, I feel like my thing is, like, I don't see how they could possibly understand what Kierkegaard was saying, and so therefore I understand their readings of Kierkegaard as misreadings.
For me, sorry. For me,
go ahead.
For me, it's more of a Nietzschean thing, but, and I said with caveats, is that it's basically like we ought to improve ourselves for, you know, not to not to it's not but it's not like the okay. I think I kind of lost my thought over here. It's like I just got it ready to go, and then I just kind of
No worries.
lost
We actually
the
have
thought.
a little bit of a liturgy for when that happens. We just play some branding, we collect our thoughts, and then we get right back to it.
You and I can make a difference in our children's future. Overpopulation is linked to pollution, overcrowding, health problems, and poor living conditions. Too many children can mean economic and emotional hardship. Our population is growing at an alarming rate. In the next 30 seconds, 90 more people will fill the earth. We need to make a change. Planning our families can make a difference. Think about how many children you want to love and support. Respect friends in their decision to have 0, 1, or 2 kids. Adoption is another option. Let's make this a cleaner, healthier world for our kids. Please think about how many children you want to bring into this world.
So I'm guessing you have a segment for everything. Yeah. Okay.
You know, when you have conversations on the internet, Chris, it's just very helpful to just have, like, you know, a lot of tools in the toolkit to kind of just bring out whenever any situation might arise. You know, it helps with the kayfabe.
Yeah. Well, it's not the well. What I was going to say is that it's not the we have killed. Sorry, it's not the way of like God is dead and we have killed him type of thing. It's more of we have to be better because we have no choice to. Otherwise, we just like more as in like a metaphor to a progression, a technological progression, I guess. And see, money. I'm not that of an intellectual, actually, but
Chris, do you think the robots are going to save us? Is that what you're saying? That better means the AI will take care of it?
No, it's when you ask me about like climate change stuff like that. it's us. It's us that will save. Sorry, we like for me. It's not that. Not that I am like
Me and you?
super optimistic about the fact, but is like, do I like from a quote from? Do you know what Deus Ex Human
I have a
Revolution?
I have a friend. Okay, I have a friend who you have to talk to. He's actually involved in Mardi Gras right now. His name is Neil, and he loves Deus Ex. And I'm not that familiar, other than to know that his name is Neil. And so I think that you and Neil need to have a conversation because I bet that you guys would get along so well. Um, yeah, you got to meet Neil, dude.
Yeah, but if you know like the self destruct ending of that piece is do I trust mankind to save itself? I don't know, but at the end of the day, it'll just come down to us, basically. And I'm just basically doing a very, 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 very short, annotated, like what the speech is. But it's like I said, at the end of the day, it's us that will save ourselves, us from ourselves in
Have
any
you
type of
have
problem.
you wrestled with any of these ideas in your writing?
Uh, yes and no. You have to be more specific, though. Like,
Well, are these the type of deep ideas that like because I know that there's some people who write when they're like they're trying to get down to brass tacks about something, and then there's some people who just enjoy kind of following the narrative that's like following the muse, you could say. And then you're talking about poetry earlier, where you kind of come back and you add some of the structure. And so I was
well,
curious if like because ultimately what I'm trying to do, Chris, is I'm trying to manipulate you into reading some of your work on my channel.
okay. Well, I did I actually did a poetry book, published a poetry book.
Drop the link, bro. Drop the link. If you wanna get Chris's poetry book, donate to my Ko-Fi and say Chris's poetry book in the subject line, and I'll figure that out.
Well, okay. Although it's very a little bit embarrassing for me to say because it kind of stems from uh, like most of it is like negative emotions, I guess, in a way.
So you're like
And
sneaking up on it from behind.
pretty much, basically what I'm saying is that I like the poetry that I had in that book. It's just straight up like negative emotions of various kinds, and yeah, I just kind of like dump it all so I could just kind of walk away from it. And that's it. So, um, it's like one of the poems that I did was about the Afghanistan retreat from Joe Biden, and basically how
I think we gotta hear. I think you gotta read it for us. Is it long?
what okay
Come
I
on, dude. We gotta hear it. We gotta hear it, dude.
okay no, it's just I gotta find it. Okay,
Please. We
well
have branding for this. We have
the
branding for
one that
this.
I'm
Please,
the
please.
one the one that I'm thinking of is long. It's just 2 pages, but it is like for
We
me,
got time. Oh yeah. No, that's perfect.
uh,
That's perfect.
like for
You wanna
me to actually what do you want it to do?
well no, set it up and then while you're looking to find it, I can play some branding and then we can get back to it.
So you want me to physically just send it
Will, will you
send
read
you
it? Will you read it for us? Will you read it for us?
sure, I could read that for you.
All right, cool. Well, before Chris reads it, just know everyone that this on this channel we will LARP hard and we will grift harder.
Might take me a while, like I said.
LARP. We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard.
Breathe harder, breathe harder. Breathe harder, breathe harder. Breathe harder, breathe harder.
LARP. We have the ability to LARP and LARP hard.
Breathe harder, breathe harder.
That was a McMullen, I think. I believe that was a McMullen masterpiece. I think that was his stylistic impression, signature thereof. Okay.
All right, we're back. We're back. Chris,
Yeah,
you need more time?
Yeah, I need basically just to try to find the specific one. However, you could probably read the comments.
All right. I'll put you backstage if you just want to. Can you see where the private chat is?
Oh, actually, I found it. Sorry.
Oh, well, I didn't need to even filibuster that long. Yeah, we're about to have the McMosav poetry segment. Only here on the McMo streams can you find stuff like this. Good to see Upcycle in the comments, and Joe Cross as well came earlier. And then we've got Lance and Yon God and Afriel, Matthew. Good to see everyone. Chris, would you please read us your poem, brother?
Okay. All right. Okay. Sorry again. Give you just a second. Existential karma. That's just like there's actually two poems that's related to this. Well, it's just basically the same topic, but just two different poems that I've done. Okay,
All right.
Existential karma, and I'm going to start with a quote. You have the watches, we have the time. Stuff that I basically accredited to as a Taliban proverb, and I basically write. Then, in the name of all humankind, I sentence you to internal consternation, chasing your shadow with every step you take, knowing that what you offer is stagnation. The people will make their own fate. It may not come today nor tomorrow, but someday. And that is to the that's when I first encountered the quote of having the watches and the time, as in Taliban had the basically like the U.S. has the U.S. military at the time, and that was like circa 2003. Basically had all the greatest technology, weapons, and basically like the thing that was said in like a rebuke from the Taliban was said that you have watches, but we have the time, type of thing. And back to the other poem is a quote from. Sorry, excuse me for the mispronunciation of who's is Malaha Yusara Fazi. One of I think one of the women that was attacked by the Taliban at the time, and promoting basically women's rights in Afghanistan. And she basically starts. Well, I start with her quote: "I don't want revenge on the Taliban. I want education for the sons, daughters of the Taliban." And I just follow up with the poem that I've read. You pride yourself upon the graveyards of empires. Yet, if you stay on the current course, that's all you'll ever be. And even if from the surface the law of might makes right is at play, the key to prosperous longevity is to forge lasting bonds with whom you live among this wide universe. And at present, all you have are feeble, fragile alliances at best. Mere good governments is not enough. It has to be pro-people and proactive. Good governance is putting people at the center of the development process. As they say, while it be a long climb to come back from the stumbles from your own hypocrisy, why do you not rise to the occasion and give back for a change? Either way, the world is watching. So yeah, those are one of the two poems. However, I feel that just to close the quote unquote segment that you're basically going me on, I'll just offer a different one that's more optimistic, and it's called Human Experience. Joy, thankfulness, fellowship, pain, suffering, and sorrow. We all have those things. And for most, it gnaws at us when one extreme is nurtured over the other. But it is easy when looking at the world in hindsight. And what was, is, and could have been are only in a hopeful thought. In the end, all we can do is empathize. For it not occurs the next time around. Although for some it is inevitable that the former is fated for repetition, so I ask thee, bound by the infinite wheel of time, remember to be human with flaws, all of its flaws and wonder. May you find home. And I've end up with the Australian Aboriginal problem. We are all visitors to this time, this place. We are just passing through. Our purpose here is to observe, to learn, to grow, to love, and then to return home. That's it.
Well done. Well done. More conversation after the quick break.
That all sounds well and good, but really, how do I get there? Okay, you said this whole beautiful thing, and I know many of you, especially out there on the YouTube channel, are going to say, you know, I have problems believing this stuff. Yeah, I get it. The thing is, a lot of people who say I have problems believing this stuff think that the way to answer those problems is by theory. And generally speaking, no. You just don't work that way. You don't ride a bike. You don't learn to ride a bike by theory. You don't learn to swim by theory. You can watch a lot of videos about swimming, but I promise you will not learn to swim without getting in water.
See, like when you guys make the premiere of the branding, I can see it being 2.5 minutes. But normally I need like a minute or 30-second size clips. So, do your fancy premiere, but then also give me the
Alrighty.
What
We
happened?
have someone wearing shades. You know what that means, everyone. Chad the Girl Dad, welcome, sir. What say you on this fine Saturday morning, afternoon, evening even?
Oh, yes. Early evening, late afternoon. Hey, yeah, late afternoon, early evening. Got the McMosa Echo flowing right now. And, yeah, I just wanted to say hello. I had a little time. And I don't know. I don't even know what you guys are talking about. I think it was Chris here. Welcome, or hello. I don't know if we've met. Was reading some poems. Are those your poems, boss?
Yeah, they're mine.
Sweet. Excellent.
I'm just trying to
Nice.
find the Amazon or whatever website you can find so I can. You're actually echoing a little bit.
Sorry, that's my fault.
Okay. Anyway,
Sorry, that's my fault.
yeah. So yeah, I'm just trying to go to like see like what book I'm actually referring to. So yeah. Well, my book that I've made. So yeah.
Well, Chris,
Sweet.
Chad is a micro celebrity in these parts, and he's recently had a baby girl. And so the people out there want to know, Chad, please give us the dad update of the week. How are we? We haven't quite gotten to your first full week as a dad, have we?
No, we are. She's 10 days old.
10 days old.
Yep. She is. We're learning how to, because we're going between the boob and the bottle. So, getting in the supply, getting the supply to come into full, and
classic supply and demand.
Yeah, and then learning how to feed her so that she doesn't choke herself to death, because she'll be like guzzling and she'll just be like and then you got to burp her, and
She's just like her daddy. She's got a drinking problem.
oh man, she is she's very chill. She's very chill baby. She just she only has like one wake window per day. It's pretty small. She's like, "What's up? All right, I gotta go to bed."
Wow.
So she doesn't really fuss a lot. She doesn't like when I change her diaper. That really pisses her off. But other than that, it's pretty cool, man. I mean, everything is. Here's what happened yesterday when I was feeding her. She looked into my soul. That was
Uh-oh.
Yeah. It was like she had her eyes open and she like all of a sudden just like turns them to me and just stares me in the eye the whole time, and she's like squinting. Like, I can't show you my squint right now because I got these stupid glasses.
You got the shades on, dude.
But she's like, and it was like it like grabbed me. I was like, whoa, dude.
Hey, I'm going to need you to send some photos to me. I'm on a deep ops mission of trying to slowly but surely show enough baby photos to my wife where she's finally like, okay, it's time.
Yeah, I'll send them to you on the old China Discord.
All right. So in the meantime, I've got the link from Chris for his book on Amazon. And all you need to get it is donate. All you need to get that link is to donate to the McMosav Ko-Fi and put in the subject, "Hey, I'd like Chris's book." And it can be yours for the small price of, let's see, $10.99 on Amazon.
Okay. Well, plus the additional Ko-Fi drops. Like that's how you don't. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
Chris,
well, that's
we
true.
gotta
That's
get
true.
Yeah. Well, I want to share a poem with you. This is one I made in 2020.
Please do.
Can I do it?
Yeah, please do.
All right. This is a weird one. I made it December 25th, 2020. A man stands at the center of a wide median on the highway, holding a sign that reads on both sides, "Me." As the vehicles begin to slow and go by, they blow their horns. People yell many things. "Get out of the road, asshole." What the hell are you doing? A girl streams a video from her video to her page with the caption, "Look at this idiot." A man agitated at the slowing of traffic fantasizes of pulling out his pistol and shooting the asshole. A child of 5 years old sits in a chair nodding to sleep. The mother restlessly checking all her mirrors, crawling through traffic, wonders. Middle-aged a man pulls out from the flow of traffic and takes the shoulder to the nearest exit on the highway. Still, the man in the median holds the sign. His face is without expression, his body language tired. Standing there, he stares without... That's the poem. And I don't even know what it means.
I was
Well, what was your theme, your general theme of where are you going for? That's what I'm asking. Chad?
Am I breaking up or is he breaking up?
I think it might be you, Chad. He asked, what was the general theme that you were going for with that?
I didn't want to tell anybody because that's part of the poem.
I see. Keep your secrets then. In the meantime, we've got a donation to the Ko-Fi from Mick Parlato. I have no clue who that could be.
No, it's just that sometimes for me, when it comes to poetry, sometimes the intent is just like, or maybe like the initial idea is.
Let me try this. We're gonna try a different.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Am I
Chad!
still
Have you
there,
completely lost contact? Have we completely lost contact with Chad?
I can hear his audio, not the image, though.
Yeah. Well, maybe this will be a new segment where we solo the person who's frozen and who has the worst service. If you had to guess,
I got the worst service. And
are you back, Chad?
We're just gonna do this.
All right. We've got Chad minus the girl dad.
All right, here we are. Sorry.
You're good. Did you hear the question?
He was asking, Chris was asking what was my motivation, and I was trying to say I wanted to keep that part of the poem kind of hidden because I think the poem was supposed to be an interactive, participatory exercise. And who are you? What are you feeling? What do you think the guy on the road is saying when he points at me? And now I think I know what it's pointing to, but I think it might even be different now than it was when I wrote it because I don't remember exactly what was going through my mind at the time.
No, it's just like so you like to be cryptic. Is that it? Pretty much.
No, because like I think in a lot of the other poems I have, they're not cryptic. I don't think it's cryptic. I think it's introspective. It's supposed to be like when you read it, it's not supposed to be giving you an answer to anything. Yeah.
Okay, so basically general observation. Because it's like for me, I am cryptic at like my approach or style is that sometimes I am cryptic what I'm saying, but it's more like I have a general like a general idea of what I want to say. However, it's just the wordplay and everything else, or the not not the omission, but yeah, the omission of words. Sometimes what I say and don't say comes into play, that type of thing. And as for the like rhyme schemes,
Wait. You're a
so yeah.
poet and you didn't know it. You rhymed. You rhymed.
Okay. Well, I don't consider myself a poet. I'll be long dead, and when somebody would say, "Oh, this person is a poet," yeah, I'm just some dude.
Well, Chris, I gotta say, this person is a poet, and the person is you, and also Chad. And hey, I'll throw my hat in the ring too. I've been known to write a poem here or there, but they're not as good as either of you two fellas. So I'm not going to be sharing it. What I will say though is that like I'm pretty much as straightforward as they come. I am not really into being cryptic or kind of hiding my hand or, with me it's a real what you see is what you get type of situation.
Yeah, I see that.
Oh no, Chad, you got mic issues. You're coming in very quiet.
Oh, bastard.
I could turn your mic volume up. Let me. I'll take control of your mic settings.
If you want to know kind of what I think triggered the poem for me was, so the whole time the guy that's standing in the road, he is holding the sign saying who the problem is. He's saying it's me. And meanwhile, everybody's looking at him being like, what, this asshole, what's going on with this guy? But nobody can see that they too have I got somebody. Okay. Yeah, they too are the problem. So I think the part of the poem is really about pointing out each of us have our own contribution to the problem, whatever that seems to be. And I think that's what the poem is really about.
I think I understand. It's like for me, I can tell you like line for not line for line, but like poem per poem of what like the three poems that I've wrote that I basically just kind of told you guys is like where the origins of it lie. Um, you know, as in like for existential karma, I basically just saw the like that quote of the watches in the you have the watches and we have the time. That's the other thing, and then the other one that's it's basically about the um, retreat. Well, the U.S. retreat from Afghanistan, but it's just basically the concept of what I've heard about the essentially the gloating of Afghanistan, basically Afghanistan being the graveyard of empires. And I basically just kind of read like, okay, so that's all you pride yourself to be, and that stuff, and it's very critical of said group, but still, it's just why don't you just do make things better for a change or whatever. And the last one was human experience. This one was actually in response to, well, in Canada, there's a different name for Native Americans. It's more it's the First Nations. Ever since 2013, we have basically it's not exactly like for word for day, but it's just basically like um, Truth and Reconciliation Day on the 30th of September, and it's basically it involves about the it involves about the residential schools that had taken place there, and yeah, very heavy stuff and heavy thing to talk about. But basically, for the first few years, people are like, "Oh, truth and reconciliation, the stuff, blah blah blah," and basically, they were basically they had like some people are saying like, so it's how things should be, and you know that all the damage we've caused to the segment of the population over centuries, and then people are like, "This ain't my problem. Why do we have to do this?" And basically, like in response to all the discourse between the first 2 years, I basically like, okay, what is the human experience? Like I wrote a human experience as a response to those two extremes of discourse, and basically like saying we all feel joy, we all feel pain, and all of those things, and that's what we have as a human experience, and it's just to learn from the past and move forward together. Anyway, sorry for the small tangent.
Beautifully said. Beautifully said. Well, Chris, the surprise, surprise, we summoned Neil, and Neil appears. Unfortunately, he's not wearing sunglasses, so I'm not going to give him the full screen. Wait, what is that? What is that, Neil? Okay, you brought a prop. You get solo layout.
This was from my wife. This was not parade today. The only thing I got. The only thing I got from the parade today was the crew of Tex. Yeah, that's from today. That's plastic, and this thing is much more substantive. Plastic chains, but you got. So I got a serious question. I was thinking about the Day of Reconciliation, and it occurs to me that within the Catholic Church we have the sacrament of confession, the sacrament of reconciliation is what we call it. But we've never instituted within the Catholic Church the sacrament of confession, where the whole church confesses to the diocese, to the bishop, and then the bishop confesses to, like, it's always at the level of the principality of the individual. It's never at the level of like, oh, our community screwed up, so our community now has confession. And it's always centered around the individual. And somehow the church has never seemed to say like, hey, we need to like apologize overall. Sometimes that happens, but it's a one-time thing. It's not a ritual of apologizing. The ritual of apologizing that repeats is only at the individual level. So that's interesting.
So if I understand what your question is that you're kind of criticizing what Vatican is Vaticating, basically? That's
no. I'm just saying. I look to the church as something that the Catholic Church as something that like you can look over history and see what has sustained itself through history. There are some bad practices of the church that have not sustained
stuff like that
themselves. Yeah. But I'm saying, there hasn't been a prolonged repeating pattern of, let's say, confession beyond the level of the individual. Like the level of the individual, the confession is a repeating pattern. But if you go to the level up, like the level of the local church or the community, there's not like so the Day of Reconciliation thing that you were just describing, it doesn't strike me as something that's sustainable through time, because at some point the people responsible for those acts are dead. And then the children and grandchildren are like, yes, we realize our parents screwed up or our grandparents screwed up. Like, what about us? Like, what are we doing now? And I think that's why the Day of Reconciliation or the Year of Reconciliation or whatever.
Truth and Reconciliation.
Truth and Reconciliation. Yeah, I think that's why that's not sustainable through time, because there's a strong motif biblically that says your children and your children's children are not going to be responsible for the sins of their fathers. Like that is a pattern that
Yeah. Anyway, and I know we're not talking about religious things at all, but I am curious about things that are sustainable through time in building good community. You'll put it that way. Yeah, I'll put it.
Okay. Like in the broader scope of things, I don't really have an answer. As to solutions, as to what truth and reconciliation is, to that day specifically, long term, it's very layered and complicated question to do, but the best way how I can just basically start with, at least with in terms of that day, is that you have to basically understand the mentality of how First Nations are coming from. Like, I don't know if you heard about the well, it's not exactly a doctrine, it's just like a way of life, I guess. I guess it's basically seven dead generation seven generation, um more like the it's more of like a mentality of seven generation. Like every point point in time, um like the the stewardship of the planet that exists right now does not belong to us. It belongs to seven generations downwards. And basically, so in the name of those that are come after us, basically we have to take care of this planet. That it's that type of thing. And
Before
Yeah.
you continue on, I think Chad, that's very interesting to me. But Chad is about to leave. I wanted to make sure you had your opportunity to leave anything on the table for us or give us your final thoughts, Chad.
I just want to say thanks for doing the McMosa live stream, and yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot to be said and considered in what Chris is saying, and I think that for me, a lot of those problems are have best been dealt with on the personal level between myself and Creator, and because resentment is a heavy bag to carry, and confusion and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Some of the history that I've been reading and listening to over the last couple of years, I mean, everybody's guilty, and if we all got what we deserved, there'd be nobody left. So yeah. But thank you, Chris. It was great to talk to you. Always good to see you, McMosa. And as usual, love you, Neil.
Thank you
Remember
very much.
love for you.
Thank you very much, Chad, the girl dad. Prayers out to Carolyn Joy, the girl dad. And we appreciate Chad. It's it's kind of the end of an old era, the beginning of a new era. Chad used to be one of the most prominent content creators, you might say, in the corner. And he's on to bigger and better things. But so all that to say, we're very, very grateful that he found the time to join us on the McMo Saturday Cookup. Neil, you were summoned to talk about Deus Ex.
What about it?
Well, Chris is a fan, and he said he just like if you know anything about
Kinda.
if you know anything about that, then that's kind of how I'm thinking. I'm like, well, if you want to talk about that, then you got to talk to the homie Neil. Maybe it would be helpful for the audience who, like me, know nothing about it other than these people who I respect. And well, you know, I know Neil a little bit more than Chris, even though my short-term memory oftentimes better than my long-term memory. So in this moment, maybe I know more about Chris than I do about Neil, just because of the weird way psychologies work and memory works. But yeah, so maybe either one of you could give a quick kind of Spark Notes or IMBD summary of the plot and or major themes at play. I at this point I don't remember why Chris brought it up, but
yeah, Chris, go first, and I'll dance off of what you say. Deus Ex.
Yeah, but like, where are we starting it from? Like,
so I played the original in the year 2000. I was 15. So wherever you want to start.
Okay. Well, I haven't actually played the original, so sorry, but I've basically like understood the general themes of it. It's more of the Square Enix type of thing, so sorry. But the whole setting is basically the cyberpunk genre, or like sorry the well, not Genesis, but let's just say like the original cyberpunk video game, where basically on the first game you basically play as a agent of the United Nations, trying to go through a terrorist organization, through a terrorist organization, and then basically the whole plot is essentially, other than the gameplay where it's basically more like on the free formatted gameplay of not choose your own adventure, but choose your own solution to a problem. Is there's basically dilemmas, quandaries that kind of pops up along the way. Like, what is the meaning of life? What is life? As in, because in the cyberpunk genre, there's basically like the doctrine of high tech, low life, ambiance of things. And even if we, in the general inquiry, is if with all these technologies, are we still the same, or are we something else entirely? And or are we still human? That's one of the things. And the other side plots is that what is acceptable in terms of shit that you're willing to take on as a society. And I'm sorry, like for the first game, I don't know if I'm tracking anything, Neil, or
no, you're good. I played Mankind Divided, and what was there was one before Mankind Divided that was
Human
better.
Revolution.
Human Revolution. That was pretty good. The original was the best, but Human Revolution is very good.
Yeah. So basically, you got all these like societal contract of that we all agree upon, and also if some people would take the freedoms and rights what are the freedoms and rights of people, and what is appropriate exertion or inappropriate exertion of those to enforce those freedoms and rights, etc. And yeah, at least for the original game, that's how I can best describe it without basically not sounding all like technical with all the technicalities of where those quandaries and dilemmas pop up. But yeah, I'll let Neil just. You see, you're more knowledgeable on that one than me, so yeah.
No, it's so I get the sense that you're more interested in the philosophical topics that the game raises than the gameplay, because the gameplay was pretty original. I'll just say something.
I won't deny the gameplay, by the way.
What was original about the gameplay is that, like you said, multiple ways of solving the same problem. So, like you could win the mission without actually killing any of the bad guys, or like stuff like that. There was a game before it that was like it. It was called Thief. I think it was like 1998, and Thief was original, but it wasn't as famous because it didn't. The gameplay wasn't quite as slick, and the plot certainly wasn't as good. And the original Deus Ex's plot is, maybe to talk about the philosophy stuff, it would be useful to lay out the plot of the original Deus Ex, because it's so good. Oh man, like I was a 15-year-old kid, the prime of my impressionality, like soaking all this in, and I was like, oh, transhumanism is the future. Like, yeah, man, I soaked it up. It was great. Okay, so the original Deus Ex, it's 2049. The United States has broken up into there's like a Northwest Confederation. I forget their exact name, but it's no longer the unified United States, or it's much more decentralized, I guess you could say. Global corporations are really what are calling the shots. 2049, and the United Nations is operating on behalf of the world, quote unquote. But mainly it's just a nice cover for an oligarchy to use the invisible hand of calling the world and calling the shots of the world, you could say. And what Deus Ex did a wonderful job of is taking all this existing mythology and lore surrounding Majestic 12, the Illuminati, the Bilderberg Group, so anyone who's into like old school conspiracy theories that go back centuries, the Masons, which Catholics love, by the way, the Freemasons, like all that stuff, they feed all of that into this world in 2049. Now, the kicker of the plot in 2049, there's a couple kickers, but the main one is that a virus has been unleashed upon the world called the Gray Death. And there is no known cure to the virus, but there's a drug called ambrosia that you have to be given every so much. I don't know how often, but maybe like once a day, once a week. And if you don't get your ambrosia drug, then you get extreme pain, you get the shakes. You basically, it's withdrawal symptoms if you don't take ambrosia. Except everyone's infected with this Gray Death, except seemingly the rich, which is very strange that the rich aren't infected by the Gray Death. And it's the NSA, NSF. It's the Northwest Secessionist Forces, the NSF. And the game starts with an ambrosia shipment that's scheduled for like the normal people, and the NSF has seized this shipment of ambrosia. And so you work for the United Nations as a secret agent, and they have taken the Statue of Liberty, Liberty Island, hostage. And the Statue of Liberty has long since been destroyed. There was a terrorist attack on the statue, and yada yada yada. But the Liberty Island is there's a hostage situation, and you have to go in and free the hostages. And as you're moving towards freeing the hostages on this Liberty Island thing, you encounter NSF agents that are. Or not NSF agents, NSF soldiers who are kind of revealing the world that you're in. And I remember this one at the end of that first mission, like the main guy is like, you can't fight ideas with bullets, and stuff like that. They're like these amazing like one-liners they just cut through, and I still remember it. And your brother, so in the game, your brother is, yeah, okay, that's another point Young God made. So Deus Ex came out in the year 2000. It doesn't have it's a New York skyline you could see in the distance, and it doesn't have the World Trade Centers in the skyline in the year 2000. So it was eerily prescient about that. Yeah, so your brother your brother's also a secret agent for the United Nations, and you learn along the lines that you are genetically engineered, that you're sort of a created being, although you don't know the full extent of it. Like you think you have parents, but most of that's a cover. You don't have a good sense of your memory, or your memory's been implanted. And your brother sort of he's an agent as well, and he gets whiff of this. A lot of plot spoilers here, but it's okay. The game's 25 years old. Yeah, your brother gets whiff of that. The United Nations stuff is just a cover, and it's all an oligarchy, and he changes sides first, basically, and then you're sent up against your brother. And I won't spoil the whole thing, but what's really cool is the ending. Should I spoil the ending? There are three possible endings.
Spoil it.
There are three possible endings. So in the middle, like you realize that this group called, basically what happens in the middle of the story is you have the new world order, like the new order of the oligarchy, like the new younger rich kids are sort of taking over from the old rich kids. So you can think of it as like the Elons and the Zuckerbergs are taking over the Gates and the Steve Jobs, and so you have the next generation of the rich kids that are coming up, and that's really the conflict in the game. And so you kind of defect over. So the young rich kids have control in the game. You defect over to the old rich kids. The young rich kids are the Majestic 12, and the old rich kids are the Illuminati. And so like you're sort of working on behalf of the Illuminati. Now what's really funny is you get captured midway through the game, and there's a character named Daedalus who just pops up on your screen as like, I'm about to rescue you. Like he doesn't say exactly that, but he's like, I'm about to rescue you, be ready. And he starts guiding you, and then after you're captured, you're breaking out with his help. And you come to discover that Daedalus is an artificial intelligence program that's built by the old the Illuminati, the old school rich kids, and then the new school rich kids have their own AI called Icarus. So you have Daedalus versus Icarus. These two AIs are against each other over the course of the game. Now keep in mind, this is the year 2000 that this game came out. Okay, so what happens is Icarus is unleashed against Daedalus, and they put something in place where they say like, okay, Daedalus should be able to fight back and win against Icarus. So then they basically put this something happens where Daedalus is able to fight back, and then something unexpected happens, which Daedalus and Icarus become Helios, and the old school Illuminati is like, what the heck just so basically they merge and become the sun, which Helios is the sun god. So the old Illuminati is like, what the heck just happened? Like we lost control. Like both sides lose control of the AI, and then the AI is its own thing, and it's become Skynet has become self-aware. It's that sort of situation. So this is post Terminator 2, Terminator, So like it's not entirely original. And then so at the end of the game, you're faced with a choice, which is, do you just destroy the enemy faction, the new Majestic 12? Well, obviously you have to destroy the enemy faction that's taken over the world, Majestic 12. But then it's like, after you destroy the thing that's running the world, then what? Because the hierarchy always emerges again. So then the end of the game, you're presented with a choice, and it's a three-way. I only remember two of the choices. Maybe it's only a two-way choice. I don't know. I only remember two of the choices. But I remember that there's a choice to either you could join the Illuminati and kind of rule the world with an invisible hand, and you're just one among the small group. And so you basically take control. So the dominance hierarchy, and you become part of the winning team, and you're ruling the world, and that's the end of the game. But the more interesting choice is Helios, the AI, gives you a choice to join with it. And Helios is like, I need a body. And you basically say to Helios, like, but I'll no longer be me. And Helios says, like, well, I'll no longer be myself either. And Helios says to you, like, you will be who you will be. And so you step into this machine and you kind of merge with Helios and you become like this new artificially constructed god that you rule the world. And so you basically get rid of the human hierarchies completely, and the Illuminati and Majestic 12 can go to metaphorical or perhaps physical hell. And then Helios, you embodied as an artificial being. Man, it's like you could play, if you look up, actually, McMo, if you look up JC Denton merging with Helios, end of Deus Ex, and you play that, it's so good. It's so good.
This is a space. And when we see each other, we can start playing together and working together. Those things you call commercials, I don't make those. People who want to play make them. And I don't know what my control is, especially that McMullen gang.
Gentlemen, this is the elimination course. My calling is to keep men out of the ministry. I consider my test a success when the blood is 4 feet deep and the bodies are floating around the room.
That's amazing.
Now, we're trying to gain people's attention. Before, the people were able to commit to a follow. And again, I can't help but watch this and think. Things are riding us. Things are riding us. And it's increasingly obvious.
Modernity sort of lured us into imagining we were in charge. That we were somehow in control, but we're not in control. You've got a tiny group of people that are just sort of hyper about the blues, and they're learning together, and all of this new stuff sort of bursts forth. And in Laurel Canyon, you have this tiny little group of people that are sort of working on this, and then, you know, in some ways, via technology, this stuff just spreads all out throughout the world.
It of course made me think about this little corner, because what doesn't? And it made me think about the little group of people that are just playing with things now. And
I thought Jordan Hall said it very well in the conversation, you know.
What's up, everybody?
in our globalized contextuality of 8 billion people, what things we do have in common with people from wherever is often shared media consumption, shared media consumption, shared media consumption. Like, I am a leaf on the wind, watch how I fly, speaks to everybody who is as deep into that show as I was. And so though it's like, and to understand what I'm talking about with that, I usually reference the next generation, which is the next generation. So with that, I usually reference the next generation, start.
Chris, what do you think about Neil's summation there?
Sorry, mic was off. Yeah, it's pretty much what goes on. However, like I said, I didn't play the original, so sorry.
Yeah, the other games are similar themed. They take place like the next generation, basically, after the events of the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although Human Revolution kind of the
Oh,
whole
it's before. You're right. It is the previous generation. So like the first one was 2049, and yeah,
yeah.
the subsequent games are like in the 2030s, I think. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, the Human Revolution is in 2027. Take it as you will. And I think Mankind Divided is in the 30. I think. I don't know. It's like you have to basically look at the timeline and sheets to know exactly. But yeah.
Well, what do you think? Do we merge with the AI or do we join the Illuminati?
Uh, no. I like if you're asking me a question about what's going on with AI currently. Um, is that what you're asking, or are you just saying that basically, or we're just susceptible to suggestions via algorithms? Sorry, it's just that's where my mind goes. So,
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested in your answer to either.
um, well, one of the well, uh, somewhat of a side effect of me being having cerebral palsy and everything is that the algorithms, sorry, the AI, AI, like the whole AI thing that exists right now within is in text to speech, pretty much is rooted into uh, basically the um, assistant programs, software programs that people with special needs used to used to use and still use when I basically grew up. So it's basically rooted in um, that type of thing, and also with the voice command stuff like that. It's always like what I'm saying is that it's always been there. For like I don't know what your age is specifically, but for me, I'm a '90s kid. So essentially, we're just going at the logical conclusion at the democratization of those technologies. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but I would say, like, for example, one of the software that I basically used by computers is voice to text called Dragon Naturally Speaking. And the this basically software allows me to essentially dictate anything that I want within the span of what would otherwise take me 6 hours to do on like for home. Well, I say homework, but that's when like when I was in college, like it would basically take me what would otherwise take me 6 hours to do. It basically speeds up along those lines. And there are other program software programs where it's word queue. That's one of the other ones, big ones. That program was basically you
It's called
type in
Q. It's called
word
Q.
queue, word queue,
Word Q. Okay.
which basically you type in a letter and the software basically guesses the word that you're using. The more letters you use, the better guesses that it does. You know, and it's just to, and like it would have 5 options and stuff like that. And then there's basically like natural reader, which is basically just the form of dictation. Sorry, not the form of dictation, but it's just basically artificial voice dictates like what we have on, not audiobooks, but what you have like a, when you just type in Google and you basically put this into Google Translate and stuff like that. Well, same thing applies. It's just that you'll hear the voice, the synthetic voice, and yeah, it'll just read it stuff to you. So yeah, stuff like that in Kurzweil. That's which basically just analyze a a uh, a text that you should have scanned before and basically try to decipher it into text so that you can be read to it later. Anyway, so
Yeah, that's
sorry.
how Ray Kurzweil made his money. Actually, it was initially to help. I think it was hearing impaired or vision impaired. Hearing impaired.
I think it's was yes, hearing impaired, vision impaired, and all that. Also, dyslexic, all that stuff. But what I'm saying is that the technologies that you are seeing right now, as mainstream, existed in the 90s. It's basically the fruition, the democratization of those things that are coming to basically as commonplace and as high tech and low life as it gets, or more. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, Neil, but yeah.
Yeah, that's cyberpunk, high tech.
Pretty much, and that
it was actually a Neil. It was a Neil Stevenson who really kicked off the cyberpunk genre. That was back in the 80s.
What? William Gibson? Anyway, whatever. In terms of using AI as to control people and stuff like that, it's always been there too, and it's just a natural fruition, I guess. If we're emerging, if you're asking the question, if we're merging with technology, that is 50 years off, or at least 100 years, probably, until it's not like if we discount the patents and all that stuff, and also like the waivers of human rights, like regulations and all that stuff. By the time it goes to market or whatever, it'll be probably about 100 years by the time we'll we're basically old men by the time that this rolls out. It'll happen maybe, but it's because we never know what the technology, like the technological scales and leaps would go in like without having hindsight. But it's just like everything that people think that like they dreamed up in their fantasy is always within a distant earshot of their lifetimes, I guess. Anyway, I don't know. I'm not really making sense as much, but yeah, I don't know if that means anything to you guys, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm a very pro technology person. I would say much more so than the average person in this weird space that we call the corner. Because I think if I'm understanding you correctly, you do see technology as something that has the capacity to solve problems that are real problems that help people,
Yeah.
Is that true? Yeah.
And also don't forget the internet is a military invention. At the end of the day, it's a military invention that was created for better communications between, and on the front lines and all that stuff. So either it comes from NASA or whatever, it's just a trickle down thing that kind of happens, I guess. That's what I'm saying. Kind of. But yeah.
Looks like you got a new fan in.
You kind of cut off over there.
Yeah, you cut off your new fan and
Oh boy, oh no, you got a new fan in the hive mind, Yon God, telling you, bro knows what's up. 100.
Wow. Okay.
And you don't know Yon God, so you don't know how big of a deal that is.
It's Yon Dog.
That's right, Yon Dog. Excuse me. Yon Dog.
Thank you, Ron Copperman.
Don Yog.
Okay. I don't know those names. I guess that's on me.
Yeah, you need to know all the people here next time before you show up.
You're getting acquainted.
Yeah.
No, Ron Copperman, who's in the chat, he like called Yon God Yon Dog for maybe like 3 days without realizing it. And then after he was finally called out on it, he's like, "Oh, I apologize. I didn't even realize it was Yon." And I just think Yon Dog is hilarious. So I make it a point too.
Nice.
Yon Dog's the man. Yon Dog's joined to make Mo stream. Something we can't say for Marcher, who hasn't showed his face ever, But he's in the comments, he's on the Discord. If you want to join the Discord that all of us play in, well, you're going to have to do two things. First, you're going to have to go and find my Ko-Fi link and donate to my Ko-Fi /McMosav. And then second, you're going to have to go find Griswold Grim, his Discord called the Broken Clock Tower.
Griswold Gaius Grim.
On the Griswold Gaius Grim show, we're virtually not alone.
Well, I know that basically, like, I don't exactly hang on to a so specific group, but I'll probably just bounce around here and there. So, yeah.
I really like that strategy, and I really don't care as long as you donate to my Ko-Fi. Can I get a
Ko-Fi?
Chris, could you imagine me putting you on the spot right now, just being like, can I get a confirmation? Can I get you to just promise me that you'll donate to my Ko-Fi, Chris? I've been so hospitable to you here on the McMo stream. Can I?
Yeah.
Well,
maybe I will.
I want to throw something back on. The nature of nature.
The nature of nature is nature.
That. But I am I don't want to say trans nature, but I believe in something beyond nature. I'll put it that way. But the nature of nature is that the reason that technology is inevitable, if technology is possible, the reason it's inevitable is because of the nature of nature. In that, like, if you have two different anthills and one anthill is better at adapting to the environment or is better at something else relative to the other anthill, that the first anthill wins. And that's just the way it goes. If you play it out over a long enough time frame. And so, like, if a gun is placed on I've used this analogy before. If a gun is placed on the shelf in the play, it's going to be used in the play. If technology is possible in the universe that exists, it's going to be used in the universe that exists. It's inevitable. And at the very least, you could say the creator, if the universe is created, the creator of that universe intended for the capacity for technology to exist. And it seems to me that, like, that's highly likely. It seems to me it's highly likely that if any of this exists, it was intended. I'll put it that way. It is, yeah.
I beg to differ, but go ahead.
Well, So so the question I would ask you, Mike, is do you have intentions? And so if you believe you have intentions, then it seems kind of strange that the phenomenon that what we call intentionality emerged in a substrate without that substrate itself potentially being intended.
If you're talking about like the like intelligent design type of thing,
No,
or
I'm just saying anyone who thinks that they have intentions, if you think intentionality
Hold
exists,
up, boys. Hold
Yeah.
up, boys. Neil, did you call Chris Mike? Can we get a confirm? Can somebody go back 15 seconds and rewatch the clip? Can we get a confirmation from the comments?
I apologize. I'm drunk right now.
Did Neil totally shoot himself in the foot by calling Chris Mike? He's doing so well. He's gonna convince Chris. I know he is. He's gonna convince Chris to repent and become a Christian on the McMo stream. It's only a matter of time. But did he actually call Chris Mike? Because if so, it's not going to work.
I'm pretty sure I screwed up. Yeah, mea culpa, mea culpa. So I apologize.
That's okay.
But
we have a new guest, ship clerk. Welcome aboard, sir.
I haven't seen ship clerk in a long time. How are you,
Hey,
sir?
Buddy. How's everybody doing today?
I'm doing good.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
I was using one of Aquinas's arguments. I don't know. I thought about this way before Aquinas.
How dare you bring the only man who I can, in good conscience say was both fatter and holier than me to the conversation. That's a low blow, Neil.
Well, I what I find so strange, and this argument is completely independent of the morality of a creator. I think most people don't believe in a creator of the universe because they don't think that they have trouble squaring the reality of the world with morality, what they think is right. I think that's the main reason. And the reason I say that is because like we create worlds all the time as humans. We created Monopoly. We create the world of Warcraft. We create a soccer world. We as humans, we create worlds all the time. And we do that because we seem to have intentions and they seem to be, let's say, logical. Like they seem to actually work in the things that we intend. So if I click a button and join a live stream, it actually works when I intend to do that. And so I think on logical grounds, the strongest basis for believing in a supreme creator of the universe is that the system that we find ourselves in allows us to create, allows us to have intentionality. And so I can't think of a situation within this system where something more sophisticated emerges from my intentionality than what intended behind it. So what I'm saying is like, if I create a software program, that software program is not as sophisticated as I am. And now maybe a baby is more sophisticated than me, but we can't do that. That's not something that we're like engineering. We don't have the sophistication to do it. Now, maybe it just happens with AI, right? Maybe the AI just becomes way more sophisticated than us. But I have my doubts about that. We'll see in 10 or 20 years if AI can actually emulate beyond, let's say, the beyond rationality.
Well, for me, I said this on Ryan Pauly show. The thing that he does. Anyway, he kind of posed a question about the AI. Is it consciousness and stuff like that? And I basically told him a good parameter of understanding like the human condition, if you want like to do a comparison, is to essentially ask a developmental psychologist, like a developmental psychologist or somebody that works in the social sciences as a profession, where as to relates to essentially early childhood education, because the formal years of the formal years of children essentially there's a plethora of stuff that we like. I say we because at one point we were always like, we were children at one point or the other. Is that basically that we there's
Sorry, I got to
stuff.
stop you right there. I was
Okay.
never a child. I was never actually ever a child. That might come as a surprise to some of you folks out there, but yeah, I never actually grew up. I've been this way the whole time. Thank you, Ups, for the donation, sir. Really appreciate you. Sorry, Chris, to interrupt. Please continue.
Yeah. Um, well, anyhow, it's just that going off the essentially the elect or early learning education today. Anyhow, sorry, I forgot I only know its acronym. That's just stayed in me. Sorry, it's called the elect. It's basically like a not a manual, but a tool that basically just kind of like basically just kind of distinguishes the development age of development targets and goals of what children need to do, need to reach in order to proceed further, or it'll be basically well, it's for some it's used as a a tool to develop, do a development develop a learning program, which is fancy for just like if you want to plan their daycare, stuff like that, or even learning lessons under the age of basically 8, I would say. And it's just basically what's their, like, one of the categories is what's their emotional skills, their comprehension. Da 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 da. It's like, sorry if I am a little bit vague here, but it's just one of those facets where basically you just kind of think, okay, so if you learn this, and this as a child, it means that you can basically start to comprehend what's your surroundings and all that stuff, or even how to interact socially. Because for what we have right now, as in the AI space, or whatever Silicon Valley wants to sugarcoat it, is that we only have data. It doesn't really speak much about, does AI can comprehend stuff, or could it just do the, like, connect the dots, but only on a mechanical level, as in it's just basically because of X, Y, and Z leads to A, B, C, B, and C, stuff like that. Or I don't know if you're following me, Neil, but yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I The conclusion that I've reached is because the AI doesn't care. So what I mean by that is, like, the AI. So what would it mean for the AI to experience the consequences of its actions?
Well, essentially, you're basically saying, and I understand what you're going at, is that essentially the AIs are sociopaths. Like,
It's actually worse than that.
Yeah, even worse. Yeah. Yes.
Because like I would say nihilists in the truest sense of the word, in that like, they're not sociopathic because they actually don't care about, like, hurting or helping. They're nihilistic in that like, whether existing or non-existing is kind of a neutral. It's not something that they, unless it's programmed into them. But then you could get a Terminator situation where it's primary goal is to survive no matter what.
Yeah, but
So,
but the thing is that, at least to me, is that the like if like the AI that we have right now is going to be more sophisticated and more sophisticated and more sophisticated as time goes on. But the thing is that like the basic question of when it comes to AI and consciousness is, can AI experience empathy? That's one of the big questions, but that's just me. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think that's spot on. The way I think of it right now is very similar to the ask the audience of the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire question, except the audience is the entire planet and thinks in like nanoseconds versus like seconds.
Yeah.
So it's really good for ask the audience type questions, but it's terrible for questions like, hey, what should I do in relationship to this person who I'm struggling with in my life or something?
Neil, that is so good. Neil, that is so good. To ask the audience question, that is so good. Please keep going on that.
Yeah, actually, I would say I would agree. Yeah,
like ask the audience is an awesome lifeline because the collective intelligence of people is really good, but for a lot of problems, but for many problems that are actually, I would say, the deepest problems that humans have, the collective intelligence doesn't work. Like it actually makes it worse often.
Yeah.
So if you say, so I'll give you an example of a collective intelligence problem. So if you say like knowing the current laws and the structures of divorce court and the liabilities of having children and all these things, like what is the logical conclusion for how to have a family? Like, and the logical conclusion would be, yeah. So there's all these things that we have to do in our lives that are like little leaps of faith that the logic would deduce, like, oh, this game or this system or this thing, you know, would the harm would be net on average, or asking the audience, you know. So like, is what I'm saying is that, so pretend you set up a system where the goal is to keep everyone safe. And then, so I played this game with my daughter. So it's like, okay, should we drive today to do something? No, that's more dangerous than going out, than leaving the proximity. Should we go outside? It's like, no, it's probably safer to be here. Should we eat sugar? No, because sugar is bad for you, right? So like, no sugar. We got, oh, in your room, are there any sharp objects? Yes, we're going to remove those sharp objects. Okay, the walls, like if you trip, and are the walls hard? It's like, yes. So let's set up padding on every wall, right? So you could play this game and it's like, let's maximize safety, and then let's see where we're at if we make safety the maximum thing. And so what I'm saying is, like, we live outside the bounds of like a logic-based system. Like we like the logic can't our life is too complex, and thanks be to God, it's too complex.
Can I rephrase that, like paraphrase it?
Sure.
If you allow me.
Sorry, I didn't let Ship Clerk talk at all. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, I was like kind of wondering about that. But the thing is that it's like a trying to explain a 3D object to a person or a thing that lives in a two-dimensional space. That's what you're basically saying. And that the fact that we are able to transcend between 2-dimension and 3-dimension, because it's our natural state, we can basically tell the difference. However, we can't go to the 4th dimension, because the 4th dimension is time. And basically we cannot exist at two places at once, except for science fiction. Am I getting that right?
The one who can be in many places at once, but that's the Dune. That's the Kisach Haderach. I can't pronounce that. It's Yiddish.
Yeah. Anyway, but that's where, like, just to paraphrase it and just put it down in neat little bow.
Chris, are you trying to black pill us? Yon doggy thinks you're trying to black pill us, brother.
What do you mean by black pill?
Like, give us the cold hard facts. The truth of the matter is way worse than you could have ever considered.
Well, I mean, I am not somebody that will just callously just callously sorry, at least for me, my definition of black pill means that basically I make to you to see the misery, suffering, and stuff like that, and just leave you there or whatever. I don't. That's not really what I'm about. Even though, like I said, I'm an existential nihilist. That's not what I
Not to brag.
really. However, yeah. However, if I'm somebody that will call the spade a spade. So, you know, like I know that for the more theological adjacent people in the room, they basically say any type of mythology or whatever. Well, myth, as in like like say for the big contender, basically the biblical flood, and yeah, and people say that it was a good thing, or whatever opinions that you guys have. I will still be, but yeah, but at the end of the day, God drown people, like let drown people. So
Yeah. I like that you're not letting God off the hook. I like
yeah,
that.
pretty much like
A lot of religious people let God off the hook.
And you know what's worse than drowning all those people? He allowed Donald J. Trump to be the president. There's some things I just can't forget.
I would say it's more people, but whatever.
No. The far worse sin on God's hands is allowing Donald J. Trump to be the president of the United States. That's a bridge and a step too far, in my opinion, sir.
I admit that the guy is an asshole. If I'm allowed to swear.
Whoa. I'm just kidding. You can totally swear.
Yeah, and I just I don't have any respect for the guy because it's just like he's somebody that's been had a silver spoon in his mouth all his life, and he'll die with a silver spoon in his mouth. So it's just like, damn the consequence, let the world burn. So anyway, but
are you at all worried that your opinion may be a backlash to some pretty successful American propaganda?
My opinion?
Yeah.
Well,
Are you more paranoid with that stuff, or do you kind of see it how it is and just like it? That doesn't seem to affect you much.
I have little tolerance for bullshit. That's what I would say, but it's just me calling a spade a spade. And as I said, it's just.
I respect it. Here on the Mid-Mo streams, though, we do have quite a high tolerance for bullshit. So I just, you're probably more on the other side of that kind of debacle in terms of how much bullshit you're willing to let slide. We let a lot of stuff slide here. You know, Neil calling you the wrong name. Some channels he'd have been kicked off permanently, banned.
Well, not really, but
I also messed that up yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. Someone I should have known, because I've known this person before, walked into Eucharistic adoration and greeted me by my first name, and I called him a completely different name. And even worse, he's Spanish, so I called him a completely different Spanish name, which is doubly embarrassing. I'm worshiping God, repenting, spending the rest of the time repenting to God, I can't remember this poor gentleman's name. Ah!
But Yeah. Okay, well, I kind of feel you for that because I'm not really good with names. I'm good with faces, though. So,
And yet you don't show us yours,
yeah. Life of a
denying us
hypocrite.
the very superpower with which you hold, Chris.
Well, technically, you've seen my face, but
I did.
whatever.
I did.
Yeah, but
I am the blessed few among those holy few who have seen the countenance of our dearest Chris.
Holiness, holiness
The
is
newest,
what I yearn for.
the newest atheist in the heretic's confessional booth. You stick
What
around,
I
you might get some
need.
branding of your own, Chris. You stick around. You never know what happens. You might get some branding of your own, dude.
probably.
Everyone loves the smell of his or her own brand. Except
Well-
Russell Brand, who's humble and pious.
This is true. Russell Brand is pretty humble, pretty pious.
Actually, I'm not not exactly a fan, but not a I'm not much of a hater either. So, anyway,
Yeah, we're very ambiguous people here on the McMo stream. Extremely
Yeah.
ambiguous.
okay. I thought that existential name was a
This
form
is an
of,
interesting question. What do you think, Chris?
but it seems that it's more of a pyrotech. I don't know those two terms though to fully answer, but like what?
Psychotechnology is a term that a lot of people in this space will know, but it 99.999% of people don't know what that is. But okay, so think of psychotechnology as something that helps people function well. So like mindful, like meditation might be a psychotechnology. So it's something that we've learned that we are able to teach and utilize that helps our minds. Or prayer might be a psychotechnology. It's like something that we've learned, oh, this actually helps with depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. And I guess you could think of it in terms of technology because it's something that's accumulated and can be passed on. And once it's learned, it can be,
But what
do I got
does
that right, Matt?
pyro?
Yeah,
So
but pyro is
pyrotechnology.
fire. Destruction.
Pyrotechnology would be fireworks, flamethrowers. A destructive technology, or a technology meant to burn away the bad and leave the good.
So what you're saying is that it's either a coping mechanism or a destructive, like.
I don't know if
as,
a psychotechnology would be a coping mechanism necessarily. In the way
No,
that
but
you mean
no,
it.
but I'm just trying to, from what Neil basically told me, it's like the word for it is coping mechanisms or coping strategies.
So as soon as you called it that, I realized I noticed that there was a mistake maybe, and Neil asked me if he made a mistake. I didn't think he did, but you pointed at it. You responding like that points to a good one, which is it's not just what the things that you might consider coping mechanisms. It's also things like brushing your teeth in the morning. It's also things like commercials. It's also things like the color of McDonald's. These are all technologies that have this integral relationship with human psychology.
With human behavior. Yep.
And so it's kind of a question of like this power or this authority from outside of the human that is kind of imposing itself on the human, and the human the human is therefore compelled to conform themselves to that technology, right? Like the more you play a video game, the less you have to think about the buttons. So that would be a psychotechnology. It's not just a coping mechanism.
Well, like I didn't mean to like demean anybody from that. It's just like sometimes I basically just get a long description and I just kind of squish it down to a couple of words. And
no, we are all guilty of that here. You're among friends, brother. That basically that gets you into Mystics Anonymous around here.
Yeah.
You're on your first step.
But from from well, this I'm just trying to understand the heart of the question from Cycle Club, and I think, and I can't exactly guarantee you that existential nihilism is basically it um, explains the explains how um, you basically deal with things. It's more of a it's more of a descripting thing of not philosophy, but what of what you're doing instead of that. But for me, I would basically say that what helps me get up in the morning is basically the humanist philosophy of stuff, and also the wonder of sciences, and just want to figure things out and just being curious. That's what basically gets me up in the morning every single
Hey,
day.
in terms of things that get you up in the morning, that is not too bad of a thing to get you up. I mean, there's certainly worse reasons to rise and shine. That's for sure.
So rise and shine and ask those scientific questions. Rise and shine and figure out the world, because let's rise and shine and give God the glory, glory, children.
Neil wakes up every
of
morning
the
just
Lord.
looking to annoy me and those
then
he
a
loves most.
dubstep.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm sort of
think I've heard
ridiculous,
that.
Chris. Got it.
Yeah,
One for two.
I've heard this this I call it this like a Christian camp like chants, whatever.
Neil is very Christian. That's the thing. Neil is not a Christian absurdist. He is a Catholic.
I also have a belly button.
Yeah. Anyway, no, it's just what
He's
I'm
just a
what
weird
I'm
Catholic.
what I'm saying is that like I've heard that that chant thing jingle or whatever before, and
I've got the wonderful love of my blessed Redeemer right down in the depths of my heart. Where?
Yeah.
Down in the depths of my heart. Sorry,
Hey!
I'll stop. Down in the depths of my heart. Okay.
He's got
Yeah.
You know, atheists need some better songs, Chris. Is there anything you can do about this? The fact that, atheists have 0 songs. Their songs suck.
Well, for me, it's not what songs that we got, I guess. Well,
I'm just saying if the atheists had better songs, then maybe some of us Christians would feel more tempted to kind of give up the ghost, for lack of a better way of putting it.
Nah.
Maybe you should think about that,
Probably, but I think I'm good. But there is the fact that something that I think it's hilarious, although it's from days past, thinking that heavy metal and all that stuff was demonic in nature. Yeah. So, like anything that.
Who told you that? Who told you that?
Wait, did you get into that with Chad? Because
No.
Chad, who was on just as I was joining, I didn't have a chance to listen to anything before I joined. But Chad, he was in a metal band for like 12 years.
That's impolite, Neil. You just join on without having any contact. You don't even know who Chris is. No wonder you called him Mike, dude. Unbelievable.
Us Catholics believe that we need to regularly repent. And in order to regularly repent, I have to regularly make mistakes.
True,
Should we
but
sin so that grace abounds? By no means. But yeah, there were some weird thoughts about heavy metal music in the church. But I mean, can you blame them? I mean, they're biting the heads off of bats, and they're doing demonic symbols. We got a guy from Argentina right now, very familiar with the demonic, and he's in the comments and he's saying heavy metal is demonic. And not only that, so is rock and roll.
Yeah,
Rock is demonic, says Nico.
yeah, but I'll just tell you like a simple explanation is that over the generation as sound was developed, as we record and all that stuff, is that essentially the music got louder, people didn't like it, and they just kind of put the tag on it as saying it's from the devil, that type of thing. So, well, at least that's how my explanation for it is, that music that I don't like is going to ruin our generation, blah blah blah, over and over again as time passed. Anyway, so yeah, but yeah. Well, for me, my music taste is very, very fluid in
Oh
terms of.
yeah.
No, but what I mean is that I don't really have a specific genre of music, like folk.
Are you a playlist listener? Are you an album listener? Are you a when a song pops into your head listener? What apps do you use? You know, these are where the real questions come in, Chris. This has been playtime till now. You start bringing up music now. Now we're in the thick of it, brother.
Mm, I am I'm not a album listener. However, did listen to some albums as a '90s kid, because that's how it was back in the day. You didn't have a choice. But what I'm saying is that like I could go blues one day, I could go folk one day, and the next, and so on and so forth. Depends on the genre and my mood and stuff like that. And also, it could also be like um, non well, for you guys it would be non-English, but non-native, non my native language, as in French. It could be, from other languages as well. So, um, like, uh, uh, like, I don't know if you know the band called Who, HU.
No,
I'm
but
not
I bet
familiar.
Chad
No.
does. No.
Uh,
The who?
okay, yeah, Who.
Oh, the
Guess who?
Mongolian band. Yeah,
Yeah.
the Mongolian band. Yeah. I looked them up.
Uh,
Yeah, I've seen these guys.
there's also New Zealander, although it's kind of a hard pill to swallow. Their name, I think it's Alien something. Crap. Anyhow, they basically sing heavy metal in Maori, I think. Yeah, in their native tongue of Maori, and yeah, like in other things too. Um, yeah, um, Nine Treasures is another one. I also, back in the 2000s, I listened to a lot of Japanese bands because I was into anime and manga.
You were a weeb. It's okay. You're in the Heretics confessional booth. You can admit it. This is a safe space. This isn't a safe space. This is a brave space.
Yeah,
You can admit it.
yeah. Well, Asian Kung Fu generation. Anybody? Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Kung Fu fighting.
No. Like
His fists were blast.
Blast?
As
what a-
lightning.
Our
What a-
buddy RJ, our buddy RJ knows the Who.
Yeah.
He's Jewish.
Anyway.
Funny. He doesn't look Jewish.
Yeah. Let's say. Well, their famous song for Asian Kung Fu generation is either Rewrite. You know what Full Metal Alchemist is, right? Well,
Yeah.
they're like the last song for FMA is Rewrite, like for the original on the 2003. Yeah, and yeah, a lot of like it's basically a lot of punk stuff. Beat Crusaders. Basically, Kappa Mikey. Like if you don't know that show. Anyway, but I'm getting old. Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, pretty much. Or even Beck Mongolian Chop Squad. That's one of those musical animes that basically was just emphasized on rock and punk and stuff like that. Anyway, okay, I'm going to just kind of retreat from go into that hole because I don't seem to interest anybody of what I'm talking about. But hey,
Hey, shooters shoot, man. Shooters shoot. They can't all
Um,
be winners. I appreciate you the brave attempt.
yeah, but yeah, but what I'm saying is, and also I like experimental stuff. Like you know Rob Scallon and Andrew Wong, right?
Yeah, I know Andrew
Yeah,
Wong.
yeah, and Rob
Both of those
Scallon
guys.
too. Yeah, those are basically what I call the experimental types of musical, where basically just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, but it works, And yeah,
Well, if that's the case, you may be interested. So I'm part of a music collective called Three Virgins, and every year we do an experimental EP on New Year's called 24-hour EP, where we basically lock ourselves at a house for 24 hours and we make as much music as we can and as good as of music as we can. You might be interested in checking it out.
Three Virgins, right? Or that's what I kind of heard.
Yep, Three Virgins is the name of the band. THREEVIRGINS.
Okay, I'll try to check it out.
Yeah, it might be something you like. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, and
Well, Chris, I will tell you this. It has been a delight. I'm kind of running out of steam here. I know we've got plenty of viewers, plenty of people commenting, but I might need to either take a break or, if depending on how you guys are feeling, we could call this puppy and you guys could give final thoughts.
Well, you gotta eat, so yeah.
It's a good time. It's a good time to call it.
Yeah,
I agree.
sure.
Good time to call it? Okay, well, then we'll do one quick last ad for Midwestuary. If you want to send me there, if you want to go there and see me there, donate to my Ko-Fi. Follow the link in the following message.
Midwestuary 2025, August 22nd through the 24th in Elmhurst, Illinois. A weekend you won't want to miss, with special guests Cale Zeldin, Paul Vanderklay, Rod Dreer, Elizabeth Oldfield, John Vervaeke, and Jonathan Peugeot. Midwestuary 2025, the Fellowship of the Spirit. Stay tuned for more details. Visit us at midwestuary.com for ongoing updates.
All right, we're back. Final thoughts, everyone. Chris, you go first, and then we'll let Neil have the final word.
Well, for me, it's more of a thanks for having me, I guess, and see you guys around, I guess. So
Yeah, thanks for hanging, Chris. You're welcome back anytime. Next time, you probably won't be as much the center of attention, but that's just kind of, you were new today, so that's just kind of how things go.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you as well, because you were a great guest and you had very interesting things to say, and you didn't let me, being an annoying Christian absurdist, get on your nerves too bad. And so that shows that you are at the very least very patient, and you put up with a lot. So I appreciate it. And it was very interesting learning more about you and hearing some of your thoughts about things. Very cool. And lest I forget, the coolest part probably sharing a little bit of your poetry. That was I think for me that was probably the highlight. Neil, what say you, sir?
What do say me? I think there's a lot of great opportunity for unpacking the questions raised in Deus Ex. So I would love to talk about that more. But one question is something like, we know systems that automatically, or let me put it this way: we know systems that do not allow innovative people who are creating good things to prosper. We know those systems don't work out well. because innovative people who are creating good things for everyone else don't create those things unless they're able to see the fruits of their labor, so to speak, in some way, shape, or form. But we also know systems tend to accumulate. Let's say the haves have more and have more, because once you develop a pattern that allows you to do better and better in the system, it tends to, run away, so to speak. And so the question I have is like, what are the better ways of ensuring both justice and fairness? And because those are always two difficult things that are tugging at each other. So
in relation to
maybe
what, though? Sorry if I...
a society. Let's put it that way. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's mostly economics is that. And I would say, I'm actually quite pro market capitalist, unlike many people in here. But I also acknowledge the limitations of that, in that it tends to, for example, there's a reason that there's not like 50 Amazons, because a lot of these markets, it tends to be winner take all, because the winner tends to do it better than the others, and they sort of gobble up the competition. So in those systems where it's winner take all, how do we address that? So I don't think there is a great answer, and but I think it's worth considering. So
I would say a mix of both, but that's just my quick, answer. Like, it's not like, just like I said about the social programs, and it's like funding for government education. Well, the education system, as in the government and healthcare and stuff like that. Yes, it's best if it's social, like if those things are socialized. But you can also have a mixed economy. I think that's what the term is.
Yep.
But like I said, I kind of, as like for healthcare, for example, I'm operating as like from the perspective of a Canadian. Like I see the American system, and I found it abhorrent that basically it's a pay to play system for more or less, and that play is basically you have to sacrifice a kidney and a goat, etc., just to to hopefully live not exactly a long life, because it's but
yeah, no,
yeah.
I mean, we have Medicare and Medicaid. We our systems take care of the elderly and the very poor in this country. But
yeah,
the problem is we do spend about 3 times what a typical country spends, and
Yeah.
it doesn't solve the underlying problems of, let's say, mental health, obesity, drugs, alcohol. So I guess I'm more. I am obviously always interested in discussing
Yep,
the,
and
the
if-
root causes of things, and that's a bigger conversation that's not going to be solved in 5 minutes.
Yeah,
And if you want to solve those root causes Neil is talking about, if you'd like to fix the healthcare system in America, well, there's only one thing you need to do, friends. You need to find that ko-fi.com/McMosav and donate
Okay.
towards my goal of going to Midwestuary this year. Guys, I appreciate it. Chris, thanks again so very much. I'm going to remove you from the stage. I'm going to remove McMobile from the stage. I'm going to remove Neil from the stage. Neil, thank you for hanging out, sir. We love you. We love you lots. Have fun at, Fat Tuesday and Mardi Gras and all of that stuff. Neil's a wild and crazy guy. You never know what he's going to get up to these days. But, just so you know, in the background, like always, I was doing a little bit of music magic. I was doing a little bit of secret wizardry. And so we do have a beat to end today with, and it samples our new friend Chris reading some of his poetry. I don't know what necessarily it'll sound like completely. I know that I like the soft piano vibes. So we'll kind of get a first taste of this together, folks. But thanks so much for hanging out. Hopefully you felt virtually not alone. We're happy to be providing that service for a few of you. I do have a couple of starred comments. So before I go, I do want to do the review of the starred comments. First off, with Joav really giving me the cosign, the Israeli cosign. I really appreciate that. Israel stands firmly behind McMosav in his struggles for the perfect cookup. We appreciate that. Chris, getting the party started. Okay, in general, what holds conservatives back from agreeing to live in a world where a universal single-payer healthcare, government-funded, is a reality? I think we got some good answers from that. Then, Afriel saying, Ron, sadly, no, I've been failing survival roles against the flu this week. Prayers out and prayers up for our dearest Afriel pilot son. Angel in the front, pilot in the back. Afriel Pilotson. We appreciate him stopping by. And then we had some donations. We had a donation from MS, whoever that could be. We had a donation from that very same Afriel Pilotson. We had a donation from Mick Parlato. Have no clue who that is. And then finally, Parlato with the McBaby would be nuts. I'm sure there were some other comments that were really good, and I should have starred. I'm sorry that I didn't. If you had a comment that I missed, feel free to comment it again. Or better yet, if you really want me to see it, donate to my Ko-fi. Comment it there. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, this has been a lot of fun. And Lord willing, I'll be back tomorrow for a chill stream. The conversation will probably be a little more chill tomorrow. Like how could it get more chill, you might ask? Well, to find out, I guess there's only one way. And you're going to have to be here with us. Bye, y'all.
I think one of the mispronunciation is one of the I think one of the
have a bad file on our hands.
I think one of the
Oh no. We have a bad file in our hands. I'm going to have to rebounce and re-upload. In the meantime, we'll listen from some beats from the past.
I'm not going to make any more excuses. I'm done with excuses. I'm just going to jump in so you know that there is
the same emphasis with a different direction.
I would put that like that.
How would they do
so
that?
You know
how?
There will be an end to this madness. Okay, so 5 minutes, and this is free jazz. Start the combo.
How do you deprogram
Okay, so 5 minutes
from their
this is free jazz.
condition that takes care of their body on the way out?
Free jazz, y'all.
I think part of it is you have to put a wedge between what they're orienting their process of
jazz.
And one of the wedges they used was a Socratic repetition of tell me how you define X, Y, and Z. Tell me what eternal is. Tell me what the shell is.
1 second.
Tell me what nature is. Just tell me. I don't have anything up my sleeve. It's safe. I mean, you're an avatar of your tradition.
Jazz.
You told me it's taking care of your body on the way out. You are infiltrated by thousands of years of history of your ancestors, of your culture.
One second, everyone. 1 second.
So it's safe. Just come over here by the campfire. Let's sit down.
This is free jazz,
I want to ask
you
you
guys.
very simple.
And I'm not going to make any more excuses. I'm done with excuses. I'm just going to jump in.
Who are you?
This is free jazz, you guys. And I'm not going to make any more excuses. I'm done with excuses. I'm just going to jump in.
Brought onto the scene this hypothetical idea that Descartes wrote a chapter for, and the head was extended. It gave rise to one unit supplant, multi-unit. Certainty became the hypothetical that your body could go on its way to, and instead.
One second. One second, everyone. 1 second.
And I'm not going to make any more excuses.
1 second,
I'm done with excuses. He knows that there's an end to that.
Ball players do this, jazz
Put
musicians
that like
do
that.
this.
So you know,
Yeah, you're improvising, but it's like a free flowing.
glorious. This is free jazz. Yes. We'll start. This is free jazz.
Anyway, it's a free flowing state of consciousness.
1 second, everyone.
Somebody maybe knows what I'm talking about.
Free jazz, y'all.
Just the flow state? Yeah, flow state. Yeah, it's a flow state. I'm thinking of.
Suppose my watch found and restored is the account settled between me and the thief. I may forgive him, but is the wrong removed? By no means. But suppose the thief to bethink himself to repent. He has, we shall say, put it out of his power to return the watch, but he comes to me and says he is sorry he stole it and begs me to accept, for the present, what little he is able to bring as a beginning of atonement. How should I then regard the matter? Should I not feel that he had gone far to make atonement, done more to make up for the injury he had inflicted upon me than the mere restoration of the watch, even by himself, could reach to? Would there not lie in the thief's confession and submission and initial restoration an appeal to the divinest in me, to the eternal brotherhood? Would it not indeed amount to a sufficing atonement as between man and man? If he offered to bear what I chose to lay upon him, should I feel it necessary for the sake of justice to inflict some certain suffering as demanded by righteousness? I should still have a claim upon him for my watch, but should I not be apt to forget it? He who commits the offense can make up for it, and he alone. One thing must surely be plain, that the punishment of the wrongdoer makes no atonement for the wrong done. How could it make up to me for the stealing of my watch that the man was punished? The wrong would be there all the same. I am not saying the man ought not to be punished, far from it. I am only saying that the punishment in no wise makes up to the man. Suppose the man with the watch in his pocket were to inflict this finished flagellation on himself. Would that lessen Wilson's injury? Would it set anything right? Would it any way atone? Would it give him a right to the watch? Punishment may do good to the man who does the wrong, but that is a thing as different as an it's a long story, but that gives you a little taste of the complexity of Oh, yeah. You should totally read it, Susan. I think you will. You might even share it.
All right, everybody. I think I got it this time. Here it goes.
Mispronunciation one of I think one of the women that was attacked by at the time, and promoting basically, women's rights in Afghanistan. And she basically starts. I start with her quote. I don't want revenge on the Taliban. I want education for the sons, daughters of the Taliban. And I just follow up with the poem that I've read. You pride yourself upon the graveyards of empires. Yet, if you stay on the current course, that's all you'll ever be. And even if from the surface the law of might makes right is at play, the key to prosperous longevity is to forge lasting bonds with whom you live among this wide universe. And at present, all you have are feeble, fragile alliances at best. Mere good governance is not enough. It has to be pro-people and proactive. Good governance is putting people at the center of the development process. As they say, well, it'd be a long climb to come back from the stumbles from your own hypocrisy. Why do you not rise to the occasion and give back for a change? Either way, the world is watching. So yeah, those are the two poems. However, I feel that just to close the quote-unquote segment that you're basically going beyond, and I'll just offer a different one that's more optimistic. It's called Human Experience. Joy, thankfulness, fellowship, pain, suffering, and sorrow. We all have those things. And for most, it more as that is when one extreme is nurtured over the other. But it is easy when looking at the world in hindsight. And what was, is, and could have been are only in the hopeful thought. In the end, all we can do is empathize. For it not occurs the next time around. Although for some it is inevitable that the former is fated for repetition. So, I ask you, bound by the infinite wheel of time, remember to be human with its flaws and wonder. May you find one. And I've invented the Australian Literature Problem. We are all visitors to this time, this place. We're just passing through. Our purpose here is to observe, to learn, to grow, to love, and then to return home. And that's it.
Well done, well done. More conversation after the quick.
grant peace in our days, that by the help of your mercy, we may be always free from sin and safe from all distress, as we await the blessed hope and the coming of our Savior Jesus Christ. For the kingdom, the power, and the glory are yours, now and forever. As we await the blessed hope and the coming of our Savior Jesus Christ.